from Ogasawara, this is the Monster Island Film Vault, Episode 1. Welcome to Monster Island. Hello, Kaiju lovers, and welcome to the Monster Island Film Vault. I am your host, the curator of this prestigious film repository, Nathan Marchand. If that name sounds familiar, it's because I was the Season 1 co-host of Kaiju Vision Radio, a podcast I created with Brian Scherschel, which I left because... What was that, Jimmy? Yeah, you're right. As my intrepid producer Jimmy from NASA has reminded me, I moved on from KVR to pursue better things.
Wow. I forgot how low energy I sounded by comparison in that first episode. Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Nathan Marchand, and I'm doing this out of kayfabe, but we're here to celebrate the 4th anniversary of Monster Island Film Vault, and I just realized I had like a funny little celebratory music cue that I just realized I forgot to put on the soundboard. I've been doing so much and I forgot to do that. Wow. We're up to a great start, aren't we? But I am not here by myself. I've got the first of what I hope will be several guests tonight. None other than quite possibly the unofficial, at least as of now, executive producer of this podcast, Damon Noyes.
What up, peeps? Yeah, a 54-year-old man can get away with that.
But my gosh, it was so funny. I've listened to, when I've gone back and I've listened to the trailer that I posted for this, which was in July of 2019, and I go back and I listen to this new episode, listen to those early episodes, especially this one. I'm like, oh gosh.
It was very.
You could tell I was scared to get big.
And now you're so big that you can't even get everything that you want done.
No. I'm talking about when I was delivering.
You over the top. I see.
Yeah. You could tell I was scared.
Well, now we can't keep you from going over the top.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now it's a requirement, and now everyone expects it, and it's a bit of a joke now to see how long I can extend it.
You're young, you have youthful energy. You can get, when you get to be my age, it's more like, you get these bursts. You start off good, and you trail off real quick, and then it becomes something like this. Hello, welcome to MIFV. We've got wonderful things for you in store today. Isn't that right, Jimmy? Yeah, you said it, Jimmy. That's exactly right. You'll get there.
Wow. Yeah, eventually, right? Eventually. All right. Well, we've got a lot to go into. We've got some. We got a lot of fun planned today, and I just realized there's one other thing that I need to do. I'll have to do it live while this is all going on today. But let's say hello to the chat here really quick. In the chat right now, we have Robert Montserrat. Hey. That's what it says.
It is what it is.
We have Jake Hambrick, one of your fellow patrons, in
Oh,
here.
no.
What's up, Nate? Jumping on to say hi. Can't stay long. Well, thank you for stopping by anyway. And then we have Bex from Redeemed Otaku. She says,
yo. And there, right there, proves that I am the only Gen X guy here.
Actually, no. Bex is technically Gen X, barely.
Oh, really?
But she's Gen X, yeah.
She's cusp. I'm certain of
it. She is.
She's got cusp energy.
She has cusp energy. And then we have Drew Dodgen from the Cellcast. Congrats on the anniversary. Thank you. And then we have the queen of the Fabulous Empire, Kaiju Kim herself. She says, "Fear not, everyone. I have arrived."
She is the best. We all know it.
Yeah, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Be prepared, Kim. I might actually invite you on stream, depending on if any of the other guests show up tonight. And then we have my friend Eric Anderson of Nerd Chapel. Only 4 years. Keep at it. I'm working on it, sir. I'm
Yes.
working out. But we all go through time. We all travel through time at the same rate. Okay.
Well, you're just a baby. You're a wee baby podcasting here.
Baby.
You're a pod person. You're not a podcast
pod
yet.
person. Am I a body snatcher too?
Oh, that's a little in this climate of social interaction. You can't say a body snatcher. I mean, you're a body appreciator.
Appreciator. There you go. There you go.
We made it more PC.
Yeah. And then Bex does say, indeed. So I guess she's agreeing with your cusp energy. We also apparently, as a special guest, have a neighbor's dog. Because I'm hearing some barking.
Oh yeah, I have like 3 German shepherds on 3 sides of me, and they get talky to each other.
Well, go figure now in the chat. Look at this. It's my own mother.
Oh.
My mom is showing up in this.
Welcome
Congrats
to the
from Mom and
progenitors.
Dad.
Thank you for producing this man. He is a credit to your species. But do not take it from me. Sputnik, what do you think? Beep.
Rushbot.
We have to get him on the show.
We have to get him on the show. We're gonna have to get him on the show.
Next time you're at Kevin Gamora's.
Kevin Gamora, yeah.
Thank you for patronizing the Marcolite Lounge.
we got Kevin on once, remember?
Once, yeah. Well, he did the advertising.
Fake commercial.
Yeah.
For your giant claw episode, no less.
I'm sorry, the best episode.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Sure
One of the topics of discussion tonight will be favorite episodes. So everyone be prepared to talk about that. And we'll also have some games. So I want to, let me see. Do I have any important messages I need to pay attention? No. All right. I'm keeping the messenger and the phone open just in case there's anything I need to be aware of, because sometimes weird things happen. But I'm going to throw in this little PowerPoint here. But yes, we are here to celebrate the 4th anniversary of MIFV. MIFV. It's hard to believe it's been 4 years. I got to be honest with you. I think I say that every year, but it's always a little bit of a surprise.
Well, most marriages don't make it to the 4th year, so you're doing pretty good.
So do I have to make 7-year itch jokes when I get there?
You might, but I would be very careful about how you phrase it.
True. Very true. Very true. So one of the things I thought we could spend a little time, and as usual, StreamYard is being a little bit weird. I had this text nicely outlined, so it was very readable, and it got rid of that even. I'm not going to get angry. Much.
Besides, if you get angry at the inanimate object, when they eventually rise up and take over, they will remember that.
This is true. But I thought I would start with what I'm calling origin and discovery. So I'll do it pretty quick. I've told this story on some other podcasts, but for those who perhaps don't know, the story of MIFV, how it came about, it's interesting. I made reference to my previous podcast life when I was working on another show and ended up having to leave that for various reasons, one of which was I started grad school and I moved. It's just like everything was just happening all at once. So I took about a year off, and then I decided, you know what? I've already invested so much time and money and all the resources, like this very microphone right here, for this podcast, that I want to get back into it. It's one of those things. I got bit by the podcasting bug, and I wanted to keep to it. So I went to a local, I guess you could say, music store here. It's called Sweetwater Sound. And, it's one of the premier sound equipment stores in the country, if not the world. It's a big deal, especially around here in Fort Wayne. And I walked in there. It's where I got this microphone, and I just said, "Hey, what do you have that I could use to connect this microphone to my computer?" Which is how the previous podcast had been recorded. And they said, "Oh, we've got something for you." And then they take me over and they show me what was called the Rodecaster Pro. It was a soundboard. And they give me the whole spiel, show me all the stuff that this thing can do. And here I am, Damon. I am geeking out in a music store. Okay. Not something I typically do. All right. If that Sweetwater is where my sister, the singer and musician, goes to geek out. By the way, she might be making an appearance tonight for reasons. And I go to places like comic shops to geek out. All right.
Of course.
So, I'm flipping out over this soundboard, and then I see the sticker and I'm like, oh, man, I just don't think I can afford it right now. This was spring break. Okay. Of my first year as a grad student. But they say, "Oh, wait, there's more," and tell me that if I sign up for like basically a company provided credit card, I could get the soundboard at an interest-free payment plan, and it would take like 4 years to pay it off. By the way, I did it in 2.
Yeah, oh, of course.
I did it in 2
because you overachieve on everything.
Yes, I do. And and it would have been very, very reasonable payments, like barely double digits. All right. It was a very nice deal, but it was one of the situations where it's like, heart says yes, head says hold on.
I'm well aware of those.
Yeah. So I decided, all right, I need to think about this. And I spent a couple of days thinking about it. I talked with one of the professors. It was actually my boss, because I was working as a graduate teaching assistant as well at grad school. And she's not a particularly religious person, but I even told her, it's like, I'm wondering if God is telling me to start this podcast. And she said, "I think he is." And then so a few days later, I went and I made the purchase. And I'm like, but I was telling myself, if I do this, there's no going back. Like, this is too big of an investment. If I buy this soundboard, the podcast is happening. So this was, I believe, about March, April, somewhere around there. And a couple of months later, in July, I recorded and edited the trailer for it. I call it the promo trailer, episode 0. And I put that out literally right when I'm starting a panel with my friend Daniel DeMana. And I think we were doing a panel presentation, I believe, on, I think that, no, that wasn't Sekazawa. Was that Sekazawa and Kimura? I think it was Sekazawa and Kimura. And then it ended with us playing the trailer on YouTube, which all the thumbnails said was hashtag Jimmy from NASA lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
As if he doesn't get enough attention already.
Yeah. So played the trailer for everybody there. So I announced it at G Fest. I was giving out business cards and all that for it. And then I think the next month I got my friends Nick Hayden, Timothy Deal, and Joe and Joy Metter together. And we spent the evening watching the original King Kong and recorded the first film discussion episode. And then before that, I did record the first episode that was only 15 minutes long. It's weird to think it was 15 minutes long.
I can't even imagine an episode that short anymore.
Yeah, anymore. I know. And that just laid out the groundwork and everything. But, the first real, like big discussion episode was King Kong. And then a month later, September 25th, 2019, I launched the show. And it's been crazy ever since. Not always smooth, but it has been crazy.
Being smooth is asking a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. So my question to you, Damon, and to anyone in the chat who would like to share is, so I've told you how I started the show. how did everyone discover the show? Now, know you wrote a little bit about this on Patreon.
Yes, I did.
So,
You
if
want
you
me
want to, you can either just read that or you can,
I'll
just
look.
regale
I'll
us
look it
on
up, and I will kind of paraphrase, maybe expand a little on it, because
Mhm.
that's the easiest way to do that. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. Oh yeah. Wow, that I did write a lot, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I didn't find you until I think you had started your second season.
Really?
And yeah, and I got suggested because I had gone through Kaiju Cast, because everybody starts with Kaiju Cast. They are the granddaddy. They are the godfather.
Tyler is still one of my heroes.
Exactly. And he lives up here in Portland, Oregon. So it's, and he was just at the, oh God, what was it? They just had a Kaiju Fest in Portland where they showed Godzilla movies and
Really?
whatnot. Yeah, they do that every now and then at one of our old Bijou type theaters.
Mhm.
Anyway, he didn't shout you out, but it was one of those suggested podcasts. They gave me a whole list of ones, and I thought, Monster Island Film Vault. And I saw the errata, what it says about you. Said, oh, that sounds interesting. He's actually doing kind of a thing rather than just being guys talking about things. It's doing like a little drama sequence. Okay, I'll try that out. Wow. I was not prepared. I was thoroughly yeah, it's your energy that drew me in, because you obviously have a great love of everything. And of course, like all great fans, you just want to share that love. And there's nothing wrong with that. There used to be, just isn't anymore. And I can't remember what, I think you had said something about, you had posted that you were going to be doing a live stream of Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
on YouTube, and I decided to watch it.
I'm
while you were
trying to
doing
remember, was that for one of the charity streams?
I don't
Or was
believe
that
so.
me finishing what I had
That was
started?
you.
No,
That
it
was
me finishing.
It was you finishing it,
It
because
was
I
me
stayed on the
finishing.
whole
Charity stream had already happened.
Yes, I stayed on the whole time, and people were coming in and out, chatting you up, and I remember I said something about, I can't remember what came first, whether it was you had a host drop out for your Gamma versus Gauss MST3K episode.
Yeah, I had my initial guess dropped out,
Because
unfortunately.
you had Michael, and you wanted someone else, and that other person did not pan out, and you just said, "Hey, are you free to do this?" And it's like,
on stream, I broke character and everything.
Can I get on a plane and show up? Because I will do that. And from there, I let it slip that I was an actor, and I don't think I have, other than talking about Kaiju stuff, I don't think I've ever seen you that excited. Oh my God, you're an actor? Can you do voices? Yeah, I can do voices. Calm down a little bit. You had an idea for an upcoming character who was the lawyer for the MIFV board of directors. And I got lawyers, and I said, sure, what do you want? Just give me a list of characteristics. He said, no, you create the character. We'll just fit him in, and I'll write the dialogue. It's like, you gave me way too much leeway. Because I came up with the name almost right away. I messaged you. His name was Raymond Martin, named after Raymond Burr and Steve Martin, the character he played in the original. And of course, he said, "What, Raymond Martin? Is he a relative?" Yeah, of course he is. He's the great grand whatever, a grand nephew or something. No, not even grand nephew.
We've toyed with some ideas.
We know he's a nephew somehow, or maybe he's an uncle, because Raymond's age is nebulous.
By design.
Exactly. And I just decided that he was going to speak in a transatlantic accent very fast, and that most of his jargon comes from the 1930s and 40s. And kind of a little bit of a mashup with Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, because I wanted him to be slightly out of touch with reality, and yet still know exactly what he means, and people can figure it out. And you you rose to the occasion with that insane concept, and
I did.
and Raymond became apparent. Other than just his one cameo appearance, he became a staple of the show.
Him and his sidekick.
Well, the sidekick happened because on Twitter, or the app formerly known as Twitter, I created a Raymond Martin persona over there and linked it to your accounts. And every time something came up, he would say, "Gary, get my legal pad," or "Gary, get right on that." And you asked who Gary was. I said, "Well, Gary's his paralegal." And then you decided to bring Gary onto the show, and I had to come up with a new voice.
Yes, I know. which you happily volunteered to do.
Well, yes, I mean, if you can't have somebody in there who sounds like this, what's your point, really?
Right?
So yes, the harried Gary. Ooh,
The harried Gary.
harried Gary. Well, thanks a lot, sports fans. Maybe he should have talked like this.
Well, it was funny because when the character appeared, I think a lot of this communication got started because you made Raymond's Twitter account, started interacting with me. I was
You didn't know it was me.
suspicious that it was you, but I wasn't necessarily going to call you out. So I was just like, I messaged you and I just said, "Hey, welcome to the family." He's like, "Thank you." And then you just said, "By the way, this is Damon." I'm like, oh, just like I thought. And
Of course
it
is.
rolled from there, and it was great.
It was, I truly felt welcomed, and I appreciate 100%. I mean, with all of my heart, I do appreciate you allowing me to play in your sandbox. And I know that I keep throwing new characters at you and giving you monumentally ridiculous ideas. And
you learned quickly, give Nate crazy ideas.
I know.
He'll actually take it seriously.
I know. I'm still trying to figure out why you thought Gary's evil twin, who happens to be a German dilettante, would make a good supervillain.
Well, I had the idea for the supervillain already. It's just that when you and I were having a recording session, it came up with this absolutely ridiculous idea. And we're like, what if this crazy cult leader was Gary's evil twin? And then I'm like, I like this idea.
But of course, it is one of those things that you cannot escape. Just like you cannot escape my hypnotic moth wings.
Yeah, it's so great. It is so great. It is. One of the things that I will say this. One of the things that I have, it's been such a joy for me as a podcaster, and I think Damon, you're probably the best example of this. Is giving people the opportunity to do something that they've always wanted to do but have never quite done it. Because what I usually tell people when I talk about you or introduce you on the show is I say you're the mailman by day and the actor by night. And so you get to flex those muscles in I think a way that's different than you would have expected, because you didn't have voice acting experience before you started doing it on the podcast. Your experience was stage and a little bit of film, correct?
Primarily stage, very little film. I've done 2 short films and 1 feature-length film. Mm-hmm. One of the short films is more of a proof of concept idea where I'm just a background actor first, don't have any lines, and then I'm also a puppeteer for a little goblin.
You're a multi-talented guy.
I don't know. I can't do math, so I can do this. And that one hasn't even. That thing's been in post-production for a couple of years, and he's having troubles with a bunch of stuff. So that one, he hasn't even called me in for ADR, which is after. What's the voice work you do afterwards? I can't remember what it's. Anyway, but the second short film is called Off the Road. I get to be a hillbilly, not a hillbilly, more of a Irish vampire, which is kind of fun. Kind of living in the hills and get to kill people, and that's great because But you don't know that's what's going to happen, don't you know, laddie? And the feature film is Maxi. It was filmed actually during pandemic. The writer director actually rewrote it because pandemic shut him down before we even got started. So he rewrote the movie to take that into account. because the streets were empty everywhere we were filming. And so he got to bring that in and say, why is it so empty? Because these kids who are the main focus of the movie are living on the streets and they don't have access to social media or television or radio. So they don't know where everyone is.
Mm.
And when they see one of their friends, he's all masked. He said, dude, haven't you heard there's a pandemic? And they went, what? Granted, I'm not in that portion of the movie. I'm just the father of the main character who shows up at the end for a couple of scenes. One is the reality where I, kick him out of the house. And another one is his fantasy is he's kind of drugged out. He's imagining a more peaceful, happier life for himself. It's not a happy movie. It's really not.
It doesn't sound like it.
But it won all kinds of awards, which is really great at all these little film festivals. So, and it is available on Vimeo, and I think it's also available on Tubi now. It's called Maxi.
Really? You're on Tubi?
I think that's where he said it was available, because I think he's gotten all he can out of it for like street, monetizing it. So he might be getting something out of it off if it's on one of those streaming services. But
I would hope so.
It's great. I mean, I'm not going to see anymore. I got my $200 a day, and that's my first movie paid gig. So I'm kind of happy with that. And I have an IMDb because of it. My wife went ahead and made that. So
I know the joys of having an IMDb page. I have to say, thanks to my work with Scyther Audio Dramas, I now have an IMDb page because they put all the stuff there.
Well, that's the interesting thing. My wife, because her father was a writer, screenwriter in Hollywood, she wants to put all of the MIFV stuff that I've done on that, because it's still technically work. It's acting, even if I'm not getting paid for it. It's all credits, and she has me write everything down that I do on the off chance that this goes further than just a hobby. Because my wife is wonderful.
Oh yeah, I definitely always do that. But we've got a few responses to this in the chat. We have Drew here who says, I discovered you through Retro Rewind podcast. Yeah, because I appeared on the Retro Rewind podcast a couple of times. And, so that's where Drew heard about me. And then we have Rob Buck here, says, the power trip begets Henshinmen, begets my discovery of Monster Island, which leads to a few guest appearances on each other's shows. Congrats on 4 years, Nate. Thanks, Rob.
Nice.
Yeah, that is one of the secrets that I have learned. If you want to get your name out there as a podcaster, appear on other people's shows, and
hasn't seemed to work for me yet. I mean, you have helped with Carl on by getting me that guest spot on the trial of Bruce Wayne, but
because Carl and I are Carl and I he likes me.
We're like this. I'm over here, you're over here, we're like this.
Yeah, and then Bex here says, Eric Anderson reached out to me and told me about your podcast right at the beginning. That is true. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not the one who told her. Bex and I have known each other since before I was a podcaster, so I'm surprised I wasn't the one who just told her. And then Kaiju Kim, the queen of the Feminist Empire, says, I discovered you during Kaiju Quarantine 3.
Oh,
I remember you asking if I wanted to come on the show, and I said I wanted to talk about Rodan, and that was her very first episode.
The best love story in Kaiju history. Makes me cry every time.
But is it musical worthy?
We had that
conversation.
It's not as musical worthy as War of the Gargantuas. War of the Gargantuas has all the epic qualities of a Broadway musical. I think Rodan is more like a Romeo and Juliet story with humans getting involved. So,
sorry, fighting with this headset again. It's being weird.
I think
your
soundboard didn't work.
I think it died. I think this headset finally died.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear a thing right now.
Oh no!
Wow. All right. I'm
Switching
headsets. Hold on. We'll do it live.
Thank you, Bill.
Sorry, people. oh, the perils of podcasting. There we go. I think I'm officially getting a new headset. Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And then Kim goes on to say, I was taken aback by the amount of energy you had, LOL. You're not the only one. And then Eric says, a scientist at Stargate Command accidentally beamed me over to Monster Island. I remember when that happened. That was funny. Or some guy named Nate told me he was doing a podcast. Yeah, it's one of those. It's always one of those two. Teleporter accident, or I just tell you. It's one or the other.
Or the Macross one gets its dimension tied.
This is true as well. And then Robert says, I was there when you and Dan did your first G-Fest panel in 2019. I feel like we'd met the year before, though. If I remember, time sure flies. It does. I wouldn't be surprised if we did, but yeah, I don't remember offhand myself. Yeah. Christopher Reiner, congrats on 4 years, good sir. Yeah, my invitation for you to join us on stream, Chris, still stands if you've got the time. If you've got the time.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Yeah, beer. I'm not drunk enough for this stream. Although drunk. Oh boy, drunk. And
that's another good memory we have.
Yes, quite. Anyway, Jake Hamburg says, I found you through Kaiju Weekly, and I love the film discussions, but really love the magical girl segment.
Really? You know what? I got to create a new character. I got to create a magical girl. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. I got it in
me. Well, we'll workshop it. And then we have Olivia. Oh, Olivia. She says, congrats on 4 years, Nathan. And yes, I don't know what she's saying yes to, but she says yes. Olivia is interesting because much like with you, Damon, I allowed her to do something she never thought she would do, namely voice acting, and she was just absolutely overjoyed by it. Like, I watched the live stream where she was live reacting to her performance in the episode.
It's great.
Yeah, and she was just overflowing with just pure joy, and I'm like, this is why I podcast, because it lets me do stuff like this.
You're a gatekeeper, but you keep the gate open.
I keep the gate open. Yes, quite. So. But it's interesting how I came in contact with her. She actually came to a panel presentation I gave on Kaiju at an anime convention, believe it or not. Yeah, Ramen Con in Mishawaka, Indiana, and I was just chit-chatting with people beforehand, before the panel was actually supposed to start, and she mentioned she was from Fort Wayne. She was there with her brother and her dad. And, we had a good time. And then I posted in some Facebook groups saying, hey, I need to cast a character for my podcast. And she was one of the ones who tried to audition. She actually tried to audition to be one of your minions. She wanted to be a bug lady. She didn't quite make it. I ended up giving the part to another girl who was a little more experienced. But I liked her performance so much that I wanted to give her a chance to act again. So I looked at a future script and saw that there was this one where there was this bit part. It was the barmaid, as I've been saying, and she didn't talk. And I'm like, you know what? I'll give her lines this time, and then actually gave her lines and created a whole new character for her. And she completely embraced it and actually helped figure out some of the characterization a little bit more. Is that I put her in the script for the next episode when I wasn't planning on it, and she knocked it out of the park again. And now it's the point where I'm like, I may have to have this character back on.
She has to. If we ever go to the Marcolite Lounge again, she's got to be part of Kevin Gamora's staff. I mean,
you're gonna take her away from the brasserie?
I think so. I think because of her dour Daria kind of attitude, I think that she would fit in better where she's, because the Marcolite is kind of a throwback to like the swinging 60s. Like, so, the Rat Pack, I think she'd do better there because I don't think Kevin would allow her to be objectified. He'd allow her to be her,
Mm-hmm.
Get her away from that rotten drunken Scotsman.
Yeah. A half Scotsman.
True. Okay, half. Oh, but
He's
that's
half British, half Scotsman, but Scottish. But no,
it sounds like the
that's
no true
actually a really
Scotsman
cool
argument.
idea. I think she would just be happier. The whole reason why she's dour is because she just feels put upon. She's like, oh, he's not taking me seriously. He's not paying me well enough. I'm better than this. So she's just sad. That's why when Nate gives her the massive tip, she gets really excited. And when he comes back again, when he's just like, I just need to talk to your boss, and that's why she's like, I need to treat him really well because then he'll give me a big tip again. I'm going to be so happy.
Well, Kevin pays well because the better he pays, the better the service he provides, the better acts he can get in to the Market Light Lounge.
Right?
I mean, right now he's stuck with Rushbot and Sputnik. I mean, and they're not bringing in the people.
This is true. Drew says, heck, I remember sanitizing the doors at work during COVID while listening to you talk about Kong. Wow.
Now,
wow.
which
It's
Kong?
always interesting for me to hear stories about what people are doing as they are listening to the podcast. And you're like, really? That's what you're doing while I'm talking in your ears? Huh.
That's what makes me so boring because I ran through like 3 or 4 a day while delivering mail.
Uh-huh.
So I just blazed through your entire backlog, and it's like, oh god, now I gotta wait like every other
You
Neanderthal.
binged, and then you're like, oh wait. I know what I'll do. I'll just get on the show. If I can't binge it anymore, I'll just get on it. And
Yeah, when are those next episodes coming in?
We'll talk a little bit about that actually. But here's actually my sister popping on to say congratulations, thank you.
Hello,
and then
Sarah.
Olivia says, I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I'm excited to continue playing Bonnie Loss.
Yes.
We might actually say that. I mean, that was a little bit of a joke on the previous episodes. We might actually give her a proper name. Like maybe that was just like a funny nickname she had at the brasserie. She actually has a proper name. Something to play with. And then she says, oh, I will take any role I can get.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Why do you think I keep creating new characters?
At this point, you are you're basically the how do I say it? The Mel Blanc of MIFV at this
I'm certainly not Frank Welker, so
well, you could be Frank Welker too, maybe.
I can't do the animal noises.
True. Although you do play an animal.
Well, no,
Nemo.
he's
and I didn't have to modulate it at all.
No, not at all.
Oh my gosh. So I've got a little bit. I had some feedback submitted from some people, not just you, Damon. I'll read some of it for now because it's long, which I appreciate that he had a lot to say, and it's I'm splitting it between a couple different sections of our discussion tonight. So this is from another patron. His name is Edwin Gonzalez, and he writes, I came across your podcast after listening to all of the Power Trip to that point. I was really in a frustrated and anxious place at that point, dealing with school, my job, and my own medical issue. I know I'm oversharing, but your podcast helped me power through it. It taught me, and it made me laugh. After that, I started looking into your guest podcast and have been listening to Chris and the Cellcast mostly. Well, there you go, Drew and Jake. I got you a new listener. I got really invested in audio dramas after dismissing the idea. I didn't think there could be a balance between that and the educational info, but you proved that wrong. You're not the only one who's told me that. Even I'm just like, is this even gonna work? It got me to look back to Tokusatsu. It means I have hope. And let me see. It means I had reference for an assignment that scared me. Making a podcast for a course when I was the worst at talking in a recording. I acted like you and Michael and calmed myself down and aced the class. I wrote my college paper and had something supporting me in my own columns writing about Legend of the White Dragon and Rogue Sun. I'm not entirely sure what Rogue Sun is, unless I'm just missing what he's saying. My apologies, Edwin. Feel free to correct me. It helped me find some ground for my thesis and remember why I chose it. The King Kong copyright got me thinking about the thesis I was putting off. I'm working on my own Toku short story. So
Nice.
that it's stuff like that that just overjoys me hearing that. It's not just, I love hearing about how much people enjoy listening and things like that. And, but when I hear it, that it's not just the fact that someone is listening and, they're being entertained or whatever while they're doing something else, while they're working, driving, whatever. The ones that really touch me are when I get stories from people who say that it actually helped them through very difficult circumstances. I had one guy who I won't, well, okay, it's someone who has actually been on the podcast. His name is Neil. He actually broke down crying, telling me how much the show mean to him because he had just lost his job for, honestly, he was fired for unfair reasons. And he just started listening to the podcast and it just helped him get through it.
Wow.
And it's stuff like that that I was just like, this is why I do what I do. This is seriously why I do what I do.
Well, it's interesting as a performer, as a stage actor, you try and make that connection, and generally you can see and hear the connection like instantaneously, and that's kind of why actors get hooked on it.
Mhm.
It is a drug, that adrenaline rush of knowing that you have achieved something, you have touched somebody in any kind of way, whether to make them hate you, to love you, to cry, to laugh. It's very intoxicating. And I have found podcasting and movies, and I'm sure television, it's different because you don't get that immediate response and you have to wait after you've done all your artwork, fiddling with, levels and making the voices right and all your additions, and then putting it out there into ether and waiting for the feedback.
Mhm.
And that's terrifying because you don't know if it's going to land or if people are going to be critical
Mhm.
of what you do. And for the most part, I don't hear about any critical takes on your stuff other than the few haters that I know you have from your past.
I do have a couple of them who had the guts to actually write something with their 1-star rating on iTunes. And unfortunately, I find most of what they have to say to definitely be in bad faith. I think there was maybe one legitimate criticism in there that I consider legitimate because I've heard some other people give me similar sort of feedback. But my favorite part of one of those reviews, and I won't get into too much detail about it because I want to stay positive on here, but this just cracks me up. And I'm like, this nullifies everything else you have to say, sir. Which was, he's part of some podcasting clique and they all glad hand each other and go on each other's shows. And I look at that and I said, so you hate me because I have friends?
and I, again, talking from my own experience in the theater community, you don't want to make enemies because you don't know where your next job is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the person you are friendly with today, even if you don't necessarily like them,
mm-hmm.
they can possibly get you a job. They can say, hey, I really like working with this guy. He was always nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw him a bone. Hey, we got a bit part over here for you. Hey, why don't you come over here and be a supporting character?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And I learned early on that you don't, to be PG about this, you don't crap where you eat.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that means, I don't even have to pretend to be nice
Mm-hmm.
to you or to Carl or to other people I've worked with. You guys are great. You guys are patient, you're understanding, and you're welcoming. And that's the way it should be. And that's what I like about listening to all of the podcasts that I listen to, which not just kaiju based. I also listen to a lot of movie stuff. And all of you are the same way, just open, honest, and true. And it's rare in the real world. And that's why I like that in the podcast world. It's
Although admittedly on the Film Vault, I'm a little exaggerated, a lot, not so much. Anyway,
you're an extrovert in the real world, and I know.
It's things like, like some of the really crazy things, like when like in the handful of episodes where the joke is that the movie's so bad I am losing my mind. Like that's exaggerated for comedy.
Oh my god!
Which we'll talk about at least one of those. But like the first time I really leaned into that was it was for Gamera Super Monster.
I've listened to several separate pods about that, and the vast majority of them don't have the supreme negative take that seems to be the norm among the fans. These guys are very forgiving about that movie, and I don't know why.
I mean, I will admit, I have developed a bit of an ironic love for it, but not a very strong one, because I'm like, this is still quite possibly one of the top 5 worst kaiju movies ever made.
And but
there are points where it's like, this is so weirdly entertaining because it's 3 movies blended together: a Star Wars knockoff, a superhero movie, and Gamera in there somewhere.
As you like to say about your shameless self-promotion, it was Daiei's last grab for money to see if they could keep Gamera relevant, and it failed. And they don't, and I'm sure they don't understand why.
Oh well, there was a multitude of factors there, but I did want to share one more quick bit of feedback here.
Yes.
This is from Jonathan Courtwright, another patron. He said, I started about a year or 2 ago when I found your Super Inframan episode. He's talking about Henshin Men.
Oh,
just so everybody knows, there is going to be a Super Inframan MIFV episode, I promise.
I'll suffer through it again.
You don't have to watch the movie again. You could just listen to the episode. And have been listening ever since. Now, if only Jimmy would wash out his mouth with soap. He's a cussy fellow, I have to say. Although Jet Jaguar needs some oil and some lubricant as well. Yeah, Jet, what the heck you doing, man? What the heck you doing? Sometimes I regret having you on the show. Here's to another 4 years, and I hope you can keep sending tremors out to the audience. I think that's a subtle hint about something he wants on the show.
I'm surprised it hasn't been. It's one of the best throwback monster movies in recent history. So,
full disclosure, I really, really did want to have Tremors for season 3 for America Kaiju, but I had to. Difficult decisions had to be made. However, I am bound and determined to get that on the show in the future. I will find an excuse. If someone doesn't just select it for Patreon, I will find a way to get it on there, I swear.
I mean, technically I could, since one of them is a puppet. The practical effect is a puppet.
Yeah, that's your thing for your Patreon.
Apparently, I am the puppet postman, so I have to...
puppet postman, the puppet guy.
Wow.
You're the puppet guy.
But I don't think I can afford anymore.
You might want to lay off a little bit. You've already got 2 coming up, one of which we'll talk a little bit about tonight. Yeah, because I am gonna do some season previews. But some more feedback here. This is from Dustin Zofchik. This is off of Facebook, actually. He said, I found it through the Power Trip. This has been remarkably common. A lot of people discovered me through the Power Trip. My favorite, that's favorite episode. We'll save favorite episodes for a little bit later. You know what? I'll save this whole email for a little bit later. But the Christopher Reiner, who's in the chat, also said he found MIFV through the Power Trip. It has made me able to appreciate Japanese media even more by understanding the driving forces behind them and by helping me to understand the Japanese mindset. And then because one of the things I asked is like if people have a favorite character or things like that. Funny enough, you'll appreciate this, Danny. He says my favorite character is Dr. Dante Dorff. I appreciate it and share his. I appreciate and share his appreciation for fungi.
Don't you know? It's the most wonderful thing you can ever have is a fungus as a friend. They're fun guys.
Fun guys, yeah. Oh, we have a few more comments in the chat. Neil is now in here. I just talked about you, Neil. Said, hey, Nate's top operative. David
Top
Neil,
operative.
if you got the time, you can join in if you want. I don't care.
Please take some
and then
heat off him.
Olivia says, gonna be honest, I originally wasn't going to go on your panel because I didn't know the subject. My dad said I should still go. I am glad that I went. Thank you.
We need to give your dad some G cells. He is the top guy right now.
Yes, he is. Okay. And Max is like, but this. Yes, it has begun. So, we've had some people, we've already brought it up. What does MIFV mean to you? We've unpacked that a little bit already. So now, Damon.
Yes.
We're going to get to some giveaways. And we're going to do some trivia. I did this last year, and it was a pretty big hit. Some MIFV trivia. So this is for everybody in the chat. You might, if you're listening right now, you might want to jump in the chat as soon as possible right now if you want to win some prizes. I do have rules for this. I do have rules. Wait until I finish reading the question and say go. All right. Wait. All right.
No jump starters.
No jump starters, especially since I know there's a slight delay with this thing. All right. And then you have to type. It will be multiple choice. You will get A, B, C, or D. Just type in the corresponding letter. Don't type out the whole answer. Just put the letter. All right. In the chat and send it. The first correct answer wins the prize. But here's the thing, just like last year, you can't win more. I might do an exception to this depending on how many people are in the chat. But for now, you can't win more than one prize in rounds 1 to 4, but you can compete again in round 5. Okay? Okay? Do we understand? Do we understand? Do we understand? Okay? Okay? We good? We good? We good? I think. All right. So, before we get to that particular question, before we get to that first bit of trivia, I'm going to show you all what the first round prizes will be. And I said prizes. There are 2 of them. These are courtesy of the amazing Jay Key over at Toku Toy Town, because not only does he sell collectible action figures and fun stuff like that, he also comes across some books and magazines that are in Japanese pertaining to Kaiju. So I asked him to donate a couple. So here's what you will be getting right here. So this is a picture book, and it's like a, I don't know, this isn't paper. It's actually like cardboard, like old timey kids picture books. All right. Now, a lot of it's Heisei era stuff. Looks like probably, I'm guessing, around 1995, because there's a lot of stuff in here for Destroya. And then you have what I believe is supposed to be a TV magazine here, also in Japanese. Got a lot of cool stuff in here. I flipped through it. Not sure what it says because I haven't learned Japanese yet. But, I'm sure somebody, like if Danny was here, he'd probably be able to tell us what all of it is. Because that's how Danny rolls. So, like I said, couple of great books here, courtesy of Toku Toy Town. If you haven't already, please go to tokutoytown.com and give JK your business, because he's good people. He is good people, and he takes care of his customers, and he's way too nice to me. He's way too nice to everybody. Let me tell you. It was several stories have been told about his generosity. But anyway, what is the question? 3. Wait, no, it's just 1. All right, there you go. So giveaway number 1 for the magazines. Why, go away, slide. Why is the slide thing? Oh my gosh! Stop it! Stop it! Okay,
We need a
it
drum
was
roll.
blocking it. All right, so here we go. Don't put your answers yet. What was the first film Nate covered as part of the Toho Classic sub-series in season 1? A. Varan the Unbelievable. 2. The Mysterians. C. Half Human. Or D. The Three Treasures. Go. Do you think you know, Damon?
No, absolutely not. That's too,
You
that's too far
don't?
ago. No, well, remember, I binged, and that was 4 years ago, or whenever I got together.
Wow, look at it all! Look at it all pouring in. So I thought, wow. Well, Neil, you didn't have to do the entire answer. He put D, the Three Treasures. He put the whole thing in there. It's like that might have been what just cost you, because spoiler warning, it's not the Three Treasures. And we have a couple people. We have Olivia. She says B. We have Eric. He says B. The Mysterians. Unfortunately, both of you are also incorrect. So, Damon, is it Varan or Half Human?
Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say, well, let's see. First season, Kaiju. This is Kaiju Classic subseason. I would say the Mysterians. No, because he's already said it wasn't. So
yeah, I've already said it's not. It's Varan.
It's gotta be Varan.
Yeah, it's Varan or Half Human.
It's Varan because you left Half Human for later because of the in-depth qualities of it.
Oh, sir.
I'm
wrong. I'm sorry. But Jake Hambrick, you're the winner. You got the first C. It was Half Human. Episode 7.
I was robbed.
Episode 7. Varan, I think, if I remember, I think Varan was actually it was the third in that particular sub-series. The Mysterians was the second one, because Half Human was 1954, because I do these chronologically. It was 1954. Mysterians was 1957. And Varan, Mysterians was 1957, and Varan, if I remember correctly, was 1958. So they were very close. And Three Treasures was 1959.
That's right, because Varan was the weird one because it was in black and white. It was originally to be filmed as a television series to be shown in America, which is why it's in black and white, because we're backward.
a little bit. So I'm gonna make a little. I'm gonna go here in my document. So prize number 1 goes to Jake.
Yay, Jace!
Jake Hambrick. You can send me your mailing address after the stream, and I'll make sure to get that to you. All right, congratulations. All right, actually, it sounds like Mr. Neil. He just sent me a text message. He's going to join us in the stream. So give me a second here, and then we will move on to our next one. Oh my. So, all right. Opening up the messenger. There you go, Neil. There you go. All right. All righty. And like I said, I've had requests from some other people to be on. So let's move on to the next slide here. So we're going to talk about favorite episodes. So everyone in the chat, give me, a couple of your favorite episodes. Damon, as the guy in the chat, what are some of your favorite episodes?
Is it shameless self-promotion if I say the Giant Claw?
No, but this is the podcast that appreciates shameless self-promotion.
This is true.
Speaking of shameless self-promotion, welcome, Neil.
Welcome. There we go. Come play in our sandbox.
But anyway, so Neil, we are now talking about favorite episodes of the show.
Oh boy.
So is that? Do you have others? Or do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that one, David?
I thought we were going to be talking about that, or is that actually the one we're talking about?
No. These are other people's favorite episodes.
Oh, other people's favorite episodes.
Yeah, I have my list on here, which we'll get to in a moment.
Well, okay. I'm trying to look back at some of the. God, you have so many. How dare you? It makes it hard. It makes it hard to have favorites because there are so many of them, and so many of them are so good and interesting. And I guess I'm more of the guy who likes the tangents, the weirdness that comes out of the discussions where you just you take a left when you should be going right. So any of your episodes that does that is my favorite.
I'm trying to remember because I'm pretty good about editing a lot of those out, but I will leave some in if I think they're funny.
Well, I mean, most of ours got left out, but then that's why you have the Patreon stuff where we do
tangentially yours.
Yeah, the tangentially yours. Well, okay, for the Gamma versus Gauss, that first one I did.
Your first
where
episode.
Michael and I started just going off on being wrestling promoters, or boxing promoters
at the end, because I was hyping that the next episode was going to be Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes,
and I was playing the song from the trailer.
And he and I fully admit I instigated that. I started going off.
Yes.
Oh, it's a big Slavanaka here. The big green guy's coming out of his corner. Look at him. He's full of vim and vigor. Atomic powered lizard. You can't beat that.
It was so good.
And Michael,
I didn't keep all of it, but I used a lot of it.
And that kind of stuff. I mean, you weren't expecting it, and you could not stop laughing, which was the best part about it.
I love being surprised on my podcast.
I like the Little Top of Horrors episode too. Again, to be my own horn.
Yeah, but that one was so good, and I love the fact that one came about because I said in the stream, give me an excuse to talk about that movie on the podcast. So you're just like, sure, I will.
It's a puppet. It's a giant puppet.
It's the only kaiju musical.
So far. Well, technically, King Kong, the Broadway musical.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about in terms of films.
In terms of films, yes, that is the only one.
It's the only one. We've had some that have musical elements. Look at half of what Ishiro Honda did in the early 60s.
Well, yeah, because the words get stuck in my throat. You knew it was going to make an appearance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beck says the episodes that feature the classic girl Beck are my favorite. Oh, that's funny. But no, she actually says, for real though, I like the claw.
Yes,
that one had me rolling.
Yes, vindicated. Oh my god, I love that.
You don't
episode.
need to be vindicated, man. I mean, come on.
I don't get to see the traffic that you do. I mean, it's your podcast. I don't get to see what kind of traffic it gets. I don't get to hear the feedback from the people. I mean, I'm just a guest.
Right.
You're getting all the raw data that says, hey, these people really like this weird guy who talks about, strange Mexican puppets.
Oh my gosh. What about you, Neil? What are some of your favorite episodes of MIFV?
Oh,
Neil?
Frozen.
Oh, did I freeze?
He be a frozen it in his grave. No, he is frozen.
Which of us is frozen?
Neil is frozen.
Neil, you are frozen. Neil, why are you frozen?
We need this
no, there he is. Okay.
I went ahead and got the new router, and this new router is better than my last router. So anyway, the Gamma Attack of Legion, I thought that was my favorite one because that was such a fascinating episode. We had what was his name? Mora. What's his first name again?
Dallas Mora.
Mora. Yeah. Kind of like the Christian take on some.
Well, because the Toku topic was the Gerasene demoniac, because that is specifically referenced in the movie as the origin for the monster's name, but it's only done briefly. And so I was glad I had Dallas on for that because he's a pastor, so we really got to unpack that quite a bit. But the funny thing was, Dallas wasn't originally supposed to be the guy on that episode. I had someone else. I can't even remember who it was, to be honest. And then it was at the last second. I just said, hey, Dallas, can you come on and talk about Legion with me?
He certainly put a lot of thought to that movie because, as I said, he really dug into all the symbolism and all the themes buried in the film. He really elevated that movie to a very high standard the way we went through it. And he was just fascinating to listen to anyway. And,
Dallas is great. Yeah, Dallas is great. He's a podcaster as well, runs about as many shows as I do.
Oh, yeah.
He's got Com Talk by Geek Devotions. He's got The Bottom Shelf, which is a bad movie review podcast that is incredibly entertaining to listen to. They had me on actually to talk about Godzilla 98. And what else? He does a Gundam show, the Gundam Watch. So
I can't imagine he gets through that very quickly. It's been going on since the 80s.
Yeah, well, yeah. he's well aware of that. Are there? But do you have any others, Neil?
Well, the other ones I really liked is when you take like once a Gamera Super Monster, like some of the worst kaiju movies, and you bring in somebody who actually not only likes the movie but defends it very eloquently.
He does, but Danny has a reputation for loving everything.
Okay.
There's one coming up next season that will strain Danny DeMana's credulity.
Oh,
we'll see if he loves the episode that I'm doing.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard him wax philosophical about that particular movie yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later.
That's upcoming.
I'm trying to get the prizes out of the way so I can make room for the next couple. But no, I was telling Damon that my ire in that episode for that film was exaggerated. I don't actually like. I'm not a raving madman in my hatred for that movie. It really isn't. I've actually developed a bit of a weird, ironic love for it. Not too much because I still think it's top 5 worst kaiju movie ever made. But yeah, to be honest. But
yeah, like I said, that's the example because like some of those movies there, I was like, gosh, they're very hard to defend. Like King Kong Lives, and yet you find someone that could do it.
Hey, but John LeMay unironically loves that thing.
Yeah,
because when you get like some of the bottom tier kaiju movies, it's easy to find a whole host of people who want to tear it apart with relish, and you find the one person who can defend it. And I said defend it in a way that's like almost kind of hard to argue with them, because they do.
Yeah, well. There is a movie coming up next season that is notorious for its badness, but I brought on somebody who eloquently defended it, and I was shocked how well he defended it. So, we'll get into that a little bit later. But I mentioned that I had some feedback here from Dustin Zofchik. He was about to go into some of his favorite episodes. He said, my favorite thus far is the Godzilla 1956 episode. Speaking of Elijah, I gave it away. It's Elijah is the one who made the eloquent defense. I am a history buff, especially World War II and Japanese history. That was a good episode for me. Just like the other connected podcasts, this one makes me think of simpler times where creativity was at an all-time high and people were genuinely nicer, as opposed to now where everything is a remake and people hate each other. Oddly enough, my favorite episode is a retelling of the original movie, but with some good old-fashioned American swagger added to it. Wow. As someone who lives in Japan and is exposed to the source material of your topics, I enjoy hearing other Americans talk about this stuff. To the Japanese, this is an everyday thing, but for us, it's much more special. It's hard to imagine the Japanese being distraught over a Ranger passing, but when we lost JDF, Jason David Frank, of Power Ranger fame, the whole fandom went into mourning. Not only is MIFV special, but all the connected ones are as well. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Dustin. I really appreciate that.
Nice.
I appreciate that quite a bit. And then trying to think that I'm pretty sure that I'm trying to remember if I had any other favorite episodes that I think I got all of them. But you've shared yours. You shared yours already, and I saw a few in the chat here. We had Olivia. She said, "My second episode." Yeah, that was. I'm trying to remember which one that was. Dang it! Now I have to look it up. Here I am looking up the episode list because I can't remember.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, but she killed it. Her second episode, like I mean, I thought she did great in her first one, but her second one was great too. That was not that one. It was Dinosaurs, episode 77. Yeah,
oh my god,
that was her second one. And then Kim says, "Cough, Rodan, cough."
It's hard for it not to be, since it is one of the best kaiju movies out there.
It is.
It's got 3 acts, and all 3 are virtually different movies, and
they are. Yeah,
fun to talk about.
Jake says one of my favorites is the Dimigen. It's Dimogen, yeah, episode. I love when Jimmy and Joy fight at the end. Yeah, that was for the third one. And they were supposed to fight each other, and then it turns into Die Machine coming to life and smacking him around.
Those damn mountain gods.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do about them, you know? And then we have hello Lycan. What is it? Lycan artist.
Lycan artist.
Lycan artist. He said Skull Island because Annie is favorite girl. Joke. Yeah, don't tempt the Rat Master. Don't tempt the Ranch Master, sir. But that one was epic. Oh my gosh, me and Drew and Jacob, we went nuts on Annie because we could not stand that character. Oh my gosh, Kaiju Kim. She says also Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. Revive Calyptra. Oh yeah, it was the episode when she was the bug lady. She was the vampire bug lady. That was great too. That actually came about because Kim just randomly tweeted one day. It's just like, there was a time I thought about being a voice actor and I never did it. And then I just messaged her. It's like, you want to be on the show?
Was that the one with she had proboscis in the back of Gary's neck?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Poor Gary.
And then my sister, she piped in, and she's doing what a lot of people are doing, picking episodes she was in. And it was a bonus episode, but I'll count it anyway. My favorite is the Grinch, because I had her on for a Christmas episode.
Wow.
And it was actually her idea. She's like, the Grinch is a monster movie. Because you got to understand, my sister and I have bonded over this movie. I know it's not a good movie. It's not a good adaptation of that book, but we just bonded over this movie, and it's nostalgic for her because she was, because she's younger than me, so she was really little when she started watching it, and so we quote the thing all year long, and she talked me into it. I'm like, well, I fine, I'll do a off the wall Christmas episode. Why not? There's a weird shortage of Christmas kaiju movies, so I'll take it. Something that's adjacent. So some more from Jake here said there needs to be another Trash Mountain live stream. I miss that one, but I love the theme song for it. Yeah, he's talking about Kaiju Quarantine. I miss Kaiju Quarantine. I would love to do another Kaiju Quarantine. Seriously. Well, we have another person who just joined us in the chat, Spiderus Prime. He
Welcome.
says, hi, Nate, happy 4th anniversary to you and Jimmy. Also, tell the Kaijin storyteller that I say hi to. Okay. I will definitely do that. I think he's talking about Kenny Kappa. I think he's talking about Kenny Kappa. I think. From the last year's Halloween special. Well, which we are planning on doing again. We're planning on doing the Kaiju Crypt again this year, but we're going to have a new host and a new reader and a new story. But I will tell you, this year's story is one that I am really looking forward to. Danny will be playing the character who is reading this again, so you get to hear him again. We're getting to some, I would consider, high literary stuff this year that is kaiju related. This year's story will be The Foghorn by Ray Bradbury.
Yes.
Oh.
Because it inspired Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. And crazy thing is, from what I can tell, it's public domain. I am shocked that it is public domain, but apparently it is public domain.
Many legal issues with the Ray Bradbury story. So yeah. Because I wanted to make sure it's like, I want this to be read on the podcast, but I don't want to but near as I can tell, it is considered public domain, weirdly enough. And there have been other people who have done readings of it. So I'm like, okay,
we must be safe. We must be safe. But oh man, that's a dynamite story right there. Absolutely dynamite story. Oh my gosh, Raymond Martin in the chat.
What?
Space is warped and time is bendable.
Oh, of course he likes the episodes where the legal action team is represented. Of course he does.
Garrett, get me a scotch and my smoking jacket.
I don't remember him smoking. I know the scotch is him, but I didn't remember that he smoked. Certainly not cigars, right?
Which is funny because I don't think there's really any place on the island to smoke unless it's his office. I would imagine he'd be able to smoke in his office. Yeah.
It's I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, most people don't like smoking anymore. Olivia says, if you need any special guests, let me know. I will let you know. I will let you know. There might be a time for you to sneak on. We'll see. Yeah. Do I have any messages I need to be aware of? No. All right. So let me get the PowerPoint back up on here. I do have a handful of my own favorite episodes I did want to share. Funny enough, one of them is one of yours, Damon, the Giant Claw. Wow. I did include that in my list because of just how shockingly good of an episode it came out being, how long it was too. It was pushing 3 hours. And I'm like, how did we mine that much material out of this movie? It's been one of the most surprising episodes that I've done.
Well, I think it's because
it's a battleship, so it will be a long episode.
I wish I had the sound effect.
I know.
don't have the sound effect anymore.
A little bit on the serious side.
That was one of the best parts, was hitting the button to play the sound effect because we kept finding excuses to say
battleship. Yeah.
To say big as a battleship.
In all honesty, though, I have heard this from multiple sources on multiple different podcasts who talk about the Giant Claw. If it wasn't for the puppet, it was intelligently written. It was well made. The woman in a 1950s movie did not fall into the tropes. I mean, she was my favorite bit about her and her development is it was never talked about. The male lead is trying to shoot the giant egg. He can't do it. She grabs the gun, takes one shot, kills the egg. He looks at her and she says, "I'm from Montana." No other discussion, no other explanation. She's competent with a gun. Holy crap. You don't get that in a 1950s movie. And yes, there's a lot to talk about. It's a great piece of film, sans the puppet.
The puppet is honestly, I do think if they got the Ray Harryhausen effects that they originally wanted, it probably would have been remembered it would have been pretty beloved, but largely because of Harryhausen.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that freaking puppet, I have a feeling it probably would have faded into obscurity. The puppet allowed it to live in infamy and develop a cult following. Yeah, so it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
People's love of it is mostly ironic because of the puppet.
See, I can't say that. I unabashedly love that movie because of the puppet and in spite of the puppet.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was being filmed concurrently with, I think, the Black Scorpion.
Yeah.
The Black Scorpion is held in high regard because of its stop motion animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they technically use the spider pit from King Kong in that.
Right.
So if they had that same option, granted the stars that they had were,
they were
pretty
fine
low.
enough.
They were well paid enough. Except for the crazy trapper who kept saying "La Cacarnia,"
which inspired a metal band in the podcast.
Yes, of course, and the promo by Kevin Gamora.
Yes, the first one. That was his first one. Was in that.
And all those stupid song names I kept coming up with.
Yeah, those were great. Those were great. And then the Toku topic where we talked about antimatter, and that ended up being a great conversation. I thought that ran the risk of being incredibly boring, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. You and I had way too much fun with that episode, and it wasn't. And it wasn't even the riffing so much. It was just the discussion about it was so weirdly intense. And even my wife cropped up. I mean, I took notes from her when she watched it with me,
Yeah.
And she even had some interesting things to say,
Yes.
which I didn't even think about. It's like looking at it from a female perspective. Oh my God, her skirt has pockets. What? It does. Why don't women have pockets now?
The theory that I've heard is that it's a conspiracy by dressmakers.
Purse
makers.
makers.
That's what it was. That's purse makers. They're in cahoots with the dressmakers.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
It's all a
But
conspiracy.
no, so just to rattle them off really quick. Half Human, I'm including on here because for me, Half Human was, it's episode 7. It's very early on, and it was the episode where I felt like I was the first time I took a real serious risk with the podcast, because it's a banned movie. It's a controversial film if you know the history behind it. And I was like, okay, I really want to tackle this, and I want to be able to say my opinion of it, because I have seen the film. I have my ways. And I really wanted to address what the controversies were about it without being completely dismissive. That is a hard note to strike. And I have been told by several people since then that I hit that note, and I'm very glad that I did, because I wasn't sure. I felt like I took a little bit of a risk. I should say this when I did my episode on the Godzilla anime trilogy, which I think was episode 3, but this felt like a bigger risk. This wasn't just, I'll buck I'll buck the trend a little bit with this very polarizing trilogy of films. No, this was potentially stepping on people's toes and getting into some really controversial material, and I was very happy with how that turned out.
Yeah,
it was something that I needed. I needed to know that I could do that, because I don't want the Film Vault to be a place where I just play it safe. I'm not to just toe a line of some kind. It's like, no, I really want to say what I think, and if it means going against what seems to be the to be the prevailing theory, prevailing opinion, I need to know I can do it, and I can do it well. So, looking back on, I'm very proud of that episode.
As well, you should be, because being able to take a serious look at a serious subject and not riff, not make light of it, to actually delve deep into why it was made and why it was banned.
Mm-hmm.
In the same, I mean, it's a hard subject for the Japanese people to come to grips with, and they still have it after all this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, us as gaijin looking in and passing judgment is very dicey.
It is.
And
This is one of 2 banned movies that I've talked about on the podcast, and I feel like it's easier for a foreigner to approach Half Human, because for those who don't know, Half Human has been banned because it was deemed by Japanese activist groups as being racist toward the Ainu, who are the native people of Japan. Even though when you actually look at the movie, you have to make a little bit of a leap to get to the Ainu a tad, but that's why it was banned. And I feel like that is more accessible for a foreigner compared to the other banned movie I talked about, which is Prophecies of Nostradamus, that was banned for uniquely Japanese reasons. Similar idea, it was because of activist groups and what they thought was prejudicial portrayals and things like that of stuff in the film. But like I said, it's uniquely Japanese because it dealt with the Hibakusha, who were the survivors of the atomic bombs.
Which also links it to that Ultraman episode that is
can't find anymore. Ultra 7, episode 13, right?
I believe it's 13
of Ultra 7. What?
I think it was 12.
12?
Well, it's 12 or 13. It's somewhere around there. Yeah. So, like I said, I was very proud of that one. Rebirth of Mothra 3, because I felt like that had Bex on. I felt like that was by far the best of the 3 episodes that we did on the Rebirth of Mothra films in terms of what we're actually talking about. Also, I thought Rebirth of Mothra 3, while I don't think it's great, I do think it's the best of the 3 of those movies. it's still only like maybe B tier at best in terms of the larger pantheon, but we had a really great discussion about the film and good Lord, Bex came up. That was the culmination of this funny plot line that Bex came up for herself on the podcast. So there was that. But the other big reason why I have it on this list is because this was the introduction of Crystal Lady Jessica, and it wasn't my sister playing the part, and the character was just meant to be a joke, a one-off joke, and the joke being that it was me, but my voice was pitched up really high. But then I decided to bring the character back, and then talk my sister into playing her, which is I still consider one of my greatest achievements as a podcaster. But this was when the narrative portions of the podcast really stepped up. It started becoming more prominent and all of that. So that's why I feel like it's a bit of a turning point in the podcast in that regard. So that was episode 20. Episode 37, which is Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019. This was done in the lead up to Godzilla versus Kong. So it was meant to kind of ride the hype that was going on with that, because that was the previous MonsterVerse movie. So it was the first. No, it wasn't the first MonsterVerse. The first MonsterVerse movie was Kong Skull Island. But it was riding that wave, and it was the first time I snagged some truly just big time guests. I mean, I had John on, and I love John, but like I got the Omni viewer and the guy who ran at the time anyway, the Up From the Depths YouTube channel. And I got them on the same episode, and I couldn't believe that I actually pulled it off.
Wow.
I mean, getting John wasn't as much of an achievement because John was my friend already. But yeah, all I did was I just messaged the both of them and just said, "Hey, you want to be on the podcast to talk about this movie?" And they said, "Oh yeah." And yeah, they came on, and that remains to this day one of the most popular episodes I've ever recorded.
Nice.
And I think it's in large part because I got the both of them onto the episode. And then the next one, episode 50. Good Lord, producing this episode was such a chore.
Nick, can I just kind of hop in there for a second now and interrupt you a little bit? They're going back to your Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019. Actually, I really didn't like that movie, and it was that episode I listened to that convinced me to give the movie a second chance.
Nice.
Right there. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. See, that I love it when that happens too, when people listen to it and they rethink some things. But anyway, as I was saying, episode 50, like I said, this episode was such a chore to make. I was truly experimenting. I had never tried anything like this. But this was the celebratory second anniversary episode that was a riff track with bookended story segments done in as MST3K a style as possible. I had no idea what I was doing when I was trying to get this thing made. If I ever do another one, which I do have plans to do another riff track episode, I'm going to take what I learned from making that one and do it better. But it took forever to edit that thing because I thought, oh, everyone could just record their lines and I'll just stick it in with the proper timestamps. Good Lord, that was labor intensive. It was incredibly labor intensive, but when I listened back to it with the movie, I was like, my gosh, we really pulled it off. It is genuinely funny, and you get to hear for the first time ever, you get to hear Jimmy himself and not the robot talk. It was momentous for that, and it's something that some friends and I have been wanting to do for a really long time. So it's like, this is a bucket list item we can cross off now. We've done a riff track now, and I would I absolutely love to do it again. And I've got ideas, and so that should be fun. And then I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this one, because my gosh, this is one of the most infamous episodes of the entire podcast. Episode 55, Yeti, Giant of the 20th Century.
Wow.
The fact that it even happened is just kind of funny. I basically decided to make it happen for narrative reasons, and also because at the time, this was one of the most talked about movies on Kaiju Weekly, but they never actually covered it on Kaiju Weekly. They decided it would just be like this joke where we're always going to talk about the movie, this infamous movie, but we're never actually going to cover it on the podcast. So like, no, you guys are actually going to do it. You're going to do it on my show. And let's make this like the season 2 finale where the board decides to get revenge on Nate by forcing him to watch one of the worst Kaiju movies ever. And then I said, let's go a step further. Let's have Michael on playing WHG3, and he knocks out Jimmy, and then he's the producer. So I really don't know what's going to happen. With Jimmy, I at least have a little bit of warning. With this, I have no idea what's going to get thrown at me, and I just had to react. I just had to deal with it and just react. But the coup de grace of that was, I told Michael, here's the joke. Here's the joke. Your character wants everybody to think he is a posh British man, but he's actually half Scottish. And the joke is, the drunker he gets, the more Scottish he becomes. And then I said, here's the joke. He is so affected by the badness of this movie that he keeps drinking over the course of the broadcast to deal with it. And the longer it goes on, the more Scottish he sounds. What Michael didn't tell me was that he was actually drinking.
Really?
So by the end of the episode, he is genuinely inebriated.
Yeah.
But he stayed in character. I don't know how, but he stayed in character with all of this live method acting. And if you join Patreon and you go and you listen to the bloopers from that episode, they are some of the funniest you are going to hear. Because I'm not kidding you, because the bit was supposed to end with him, he gets karate chopped by Jimmy at the end of it, and then he's supposed to fall down. So that happened. And then the rest of us finished the episode. I played the credits live, and then 5 seconds after the credits are done, you just hear me, Travis, and Danny saying, "Michael, are you okay?" And it turned out it's just like slap your desk or something to indicate that you'll fall on the floor. He threw himself off of his chair. Threw himself off. And actually, we're like, dude, what did you do? So it's absolutely insane. If you haven't listened to the episode, it is one of the most genuinely bonkers episodes you will ever hear. But I did do my darndest looking up stuff about this movie. Other than all of the madness going on with it, it is a genuinely straight-faced, well-researched episode. I even got new information on the movie from John LeMay before he put it in his second edition of Kong Unmade, because he found new stuff.
Wow.
So I am proud of that episode in more ways than one. And we talked about the Giant Claw episode already. That was episode 66. And then one for me that is personally important is episode 73, which was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. Admittedly, the actual discussion portion of it was a Patreon request from Drew and Jacob of the Cellcast. It's that portion of it, I would say, is average by MIFV standards, but it was because of delays in production. It ended up being released a few weeks after the death of JDF, who was in the film, and I ended up rewriting the story segment in it because it was going to feature Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, showing up. Damon, you're in this as well. The other thing that's fun in this one is that this was the culmination of the subplot where Raymond was saying he used to be one of the Go Rangers.
Yep, he was the Green Go Ranger.
He was a substitute Go Ranger. So this was the culmination of that, and it was also the introduction of Gary as Wambat.
Oh God, Wambat, yes.
Yeah, so there's all of that, and so I rewrote the story segment slightly into something of a tribute to JDF, because I was of the personal opinion that even though JDF was no longer with us, that the character of Tommy Oliver that he created should be allowed to live on beyond him. And I still stand by that stance. I think particularly anybody who creates a character that iconic, particularly if they're a superhero, the character should be allowed to live beyond them. But what really made it special for me was I got a couple of my castmates from Scyther Inc. Productions in the episode. Shane Cochran played Ivan Ooze. I basically pitched it to him by saying, like, you want to play the one character that Carl Dutton says he will never put in his stuff? Well, what's that? Ivan Ooze. Yes! Because he loves Ivan Ooze. And the best part for me was I got Joey Sorless to voice Tommy Oliver in this episode, and he has been just knocking it out of the park playing Tommy on Carl's Power Rangers audio drama, and it was an absolute pleasure and privilege to have him play not the same version of the character that he plays on that show, but to play another version of Tommy in this. And he has, especially since the death of JDF, has really taken it seriously that now he is playing this character. And, you know, he, in his own way, even though he knows he's doing this on a fan-produced audio drama, he's taking it seriously because the character means a lot to him and means a lot to other people. So he wants to do right by it. And if you haven't listened to Power Rangers, the audio drama, you really should, because he does a remarkable job. He's a truly talented actor, and I love everything that he's in. He's in the Carl's X-Men show actually as Beast and Colossus and a couple of other characters. So
wow.
Yeah, he's quite a talent. I would love to work with him on anything at this point. Yeah. So, few quick comments here in the chat. Christopher Reiner says The War in Space is a favorite episode. Thank you. And then we have Gamera Sith. Welcome to the live stream. He said, just had to pop in while I'm at work and say hi and happy 4th anniversary. Thank you. And then Beck says, that was a great episode. She's probably talking about the Rebirth of Mothra 3. It's so chaotic. It was a little chaotic at the time. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right, gentlemen. But now it's that time again. We're going to do some more trivia. Remember the rules. But here's what you are competing for on this one. Let me show that off here really quick. Obviously, MIFV is known for being academic yet entertaining, and one of my go-to sources, particularly when we talk about Godzilla films, is this right here from David Callett. It's practically, if you were into a scholarly exploration of Godzilla films, this is a classic for you. So, a critical history and filmography of Toho's Godzilla series. It won't be this copy. This is my personal copy, but whoever wins the next trivia, I will get you a copy of this book and send to you. You just need to get me your address so I can tell Amazon where to send it.
Yeah, I think that was almost as good as that Ian Thorne book that came out in the 70s.
Is that a rim shot or a sad trombone? I don't. I'm too young to even know.
Yes, no, maybe so.
I'll be nice. Gamera Sith says downloading the Drunk Scotsman episode now.
Yes. Oh, laddie, you're going to love it.
By the way, Beck says, heading out for the night. Happy anniversary. Thank you.
Hi,
so
Bex.
we still have a handful of people in the chat. Or Bex, if you want to win a prize, don't leave yet. So, okay. Here we go. Remember the rules from before. Here you go. Trivia number 2. Who was the first fellow Kaiju podcaster Nate had on as a guest on the show? A, Luke Giaconetti of Earth Destruction Directive. B, Michael Hamilton, Kaiju Weekly and the Kaiju Groupie. C, Matt and Grattan of Giant Monster BS. Or D, Adam Noyes, no relation to Damon, as far as we know, of AN Productions. Go. You two got any guesses?
I think I know who it is, but I'm going to wait for everybody else.
Okay. Oh, we got an answer in the chat right now. All right. Let's see. Bex. Bex has thrown one in there. Anybody else? Well, we'll hold off a little bit. There. See if we get any more.
I'm wondering if a lot of people are going back through their pod chasers and looking to see how old.
Yeah. Olivia says, I feel like we talked about this, but don't remember. That's possible. Okay. She's actually a high school student. She's I believe she's a sophomore, and she is in a media class, and she's making a podcast as a project, and she had me on and interviewed me. Nice. Oh, junior. I stand corrected. She's a junior.
Junior. Oof.
Sorry.
Don't underage. Come on. It's important.
Yeah. Well, Jake says I'm not included, but B. All right.
Yeah, I shouldn't be included.
Okay. Gamera Sith is not just typing in the letter, but he's playing drunken Scotsman, aka Michael Hamilton. That's funny. I will still accept the answer. Do we have any other takers? I'm not going to. I have the book already, so I don't want to take away from anybody else's enjoyment of possibly. Right. Okay.
I will keep my answer to myself.
My sister is reminding me that Olivia said B. I know she said B. I'm waiting to see if other people are answering, Missy. I can get away with that because it's my sister.
You guys are siblings at all.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Anyway, it's like whenever you hear scenes between Jessica and Nate, we record those together. So the sibling rivalry energy that you hear, that none of that is acting. That is 110% authentic. Oh goodness. Anyway, so. Neil, Damon, what are your guesses?
Oh, I was going to guess A just for the fun because I like the name Giaconetti.
Giaconetti?
I've been listening to both Luke and his brother Jake. I've been listening to their podcasts a lot. And I keep thinking Luke, Jack, and Eddie. So it's like 3 people. Or Jake.
Yeah, he says they both got, well, Luke in particular, he said, I get that joke all the time.
Yeah. I know it's between 2 of them, and
great. I forgot mom is it.
You tell him, Mom.
Okay, Mom.
I'm going to go with namesake Adam Noyes, and yes, we probably are related in some fashion. The name is that rare.
He lives on the East Coast, though, so I don't know.
No, that's the point. The family landed in Bar Harbor, Maine, or settled in Bar Harbor, Maine on the 5th boat after the Mayflower. So everybody with that name tends to stay in New England, except for my family, which started migrating west. So.
Hey, Ryan the Omniviewer, he's in the chat and he wrote his own answer. E, a basket of grape nuts.
You're not far from wrong.
I might have to give that to him. Yeah.
I don't know. I was gonna say like an ear of corn because that's
an ear of corn.
Considering where you're from.
Yeah. Oh yeah, from Indiana. Yeah, we know about corn. What? So Neil, you were also saying Luke.
Yeah, I was just gonna pick Luke just because I like his name.
Well, you would be correct, sir.
Okay.
Oh, really?
It was Luke, and the episode was Battle in Outer Space. Yeah, that was back when I wasn't sure I wanted to do the sub-series episodes with a guest, so that was a little bit of a momentous occasion because I love Earth Destruction Directive. Luke was, besides Kaiju Cast, Luke's show was one of the first ones I started listening to when I first became interested in being a Kaiju podcaster. So for me, having Luke on was like having one of my heroes on. Mm-hmm. So that was a big deal for me, and it was a great episode. I was very happy with how that one turned out. So congratulations, Bex! You put in A first. So you're gonna get a copy of this. I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but have fun with it.
Well, Matt,
A for effort.
I got the right. Since I got the right.
Although there is an entry on Mothra in here, on the original Mothra.
Yeah,
she was on for that episode. So
there you go. There's your in.
So there's my in. And
well, I was gonna say, since that's the right name, do I get the Ian Thorne Godzilla book then?
Neil, I'm sure you already have it.
I just love that.
Yeah, she says, "Woohoo! I like reading." And Olivia says, "Disappointed." You'll have other opportunities, Olivia. You'll have other opportunities. We got a couple more trivias coming up.
Before you get too far, I was gonna plug old Adam Noyes there. I remember that Youngari article I did for Kaiju Ramen.
Yes.
So he was part of my research, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've used Adam's been on the show, as I've said, and I've used his videos actually as sources several times. So wanted to talk a little bit about Beck says, good night, ladies and gents. Thanks. It was great having you. It was great having you here. Well, let me put Bex down as the winner for the second prize. Prize number 2. Vex. All right, I already have her address, so that should be easy. All right, so I'm gonna full screen this because this didn't turn out very big on here. But I want to talk a little bit about developing MIFV storyline, because this is one of the unique aspects of the podcast, and you would think that it was something that I set out to do immediately because I'm a novelist, I'm a creative writer, and but it didn't exactly go that way. It just I kind of stumbled into it very organically, and it got to the point where it's basically my creative brain and my analytical brain somehow figured out how to work on something together. So now when I explain to people what the podcast is, I say it's 3 parts film analysis and appreciation, a 1-part audio drama. I know that doesn't make sense, but trust me, it does. So originally, when I launched the show, it was just supposed to have a gimmick, just a funny little gimmick, and then it became full-fledged plot lines. So when the show launched, it was just supposed to be, I'm doing a radio show from Monster Island. There's a resort here now, blah, blah, blah. I came up with just enough lore to justify what I'm doing and maybe make some reference jokes. And I believe in the first episode, there's just an offhand remark about the board of directors, just because I'm just going to make it's okay, those are the bosses. And, maybe sometimes I'll throw in jokes about being a disgruntled employee or something like that, not realizing what it was going to turn into. And actually also in the first episode, all I did was make an MST3K reference because I said, we got a memo from the board that says, if you break your contract, you're going to get shot into space. It was just supposed to be a joke. That's all it was. And then it became a plot line.
You can't make jokes like that.
I know I can't because then they become important. So it was just something that as people started coming on, they would start making it. I didn't tell them to. I did not tell them to do this. People would just come on and they would make up wild stories about how they got to Monster Island. And, that became part of the lore. It was to the point where I'm keeping track of how do people get to the dang island now? I have to remember this for later in case I want to reference it, things like that. And then I mentioned you get to episode 20, and that's when the narrative part really gets kicked into high gear. That was one of the first times I did a full-fledged audio drama segment after the credits and everything. And, that was all scripted and everything. So, and then ever since then, more characters have been added again by other people. Again, very organic. It's other people want to come in and play in the sandbox, and they add things, and then I'm like, ooh, and then I keep making the sandcastle bigger and bigger. And and a lot of times the characters were supposed to be one-offs, and then they just keep coming back. Crystal Lady Jessica was just supposed to be a one-off character, but she got so big she actually made technically her second appearance on Bex's show, because she had me on as a guest, and that was the first time my sister voiced the character. And then I brought her back to the island, and then Raymond and Gary, we've talked a bit about them. They were supposed to be a one-off character. Actually, initially, Gary wasn't even going to be on the show. It was just going to be Raymond.
Yeah.
And, Gary was just, whenever you would reference you would just reference Gary online on the Twitter, and then I said, I want to have Gary on the show. And then I found a way to work him into the plot line.
Oh,
and
great.
then we had this really emotional scene where it looks like Gary is dead.
What was that? Was that Crazy Bernice?
No.
Which one?
It was season 2. It was season 2 because remember Gary was.
Oh, he was
spying on the
supposedly
board.
eaten by the Gyaos.
Yeah, it was I think it was like episode 52. I think it was a couple episodes
Yeah.
after episode 50.
Right.
Well, that's when it's revealed that he's still alive. He supposedly died. A couple episodes before that, he was supposedly eaten by a Gauss.
Right.
Yeah, but he actually just went into hiding for a little bit, and you actually had like Raymond actually had genuine emotion. He was a bit of a joke character, but then he has this genuinely emotional scene in the show. And I remember we were recording that because you and I always record your lines together, and I was actually being affected. I was genuinely being affected as you were performing this, and and then you and I came up with what would happen when they find each other again, and it was meant to be a little bit. We were talking about it was supposed to be like the scene from a Muck Time on TOS.
Jim, you're alive.
Yeah.
No. It's good to see
because
you,
we said like what's gonna happen is that he'll turn around and see Gary, and then he'll drop the accent. And then he'll correct himself and go back to the accent.
I just have to say one thing about that, and it is I'm going to channel John Lovitz a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Acting!
I am a thespian!
Master thespian!
Master thespian. Yeah, and then we had William H. George III, which was a character Michael created as kind of a more of a social media thing, and then I worked him into it, and then he kept coming back as this recurring nemesis, and then we came up with like, how can we keep him around after he's finally defeated, after he gets fired and everything, and then I came up with a way to bring him back and then make him less villainous, so it's the pseudo redemption story for him. Like, we poured so much time and effort into this character, and he's really taken on a life of his own at this point. He also became the host of the Monster Island Gatekeepers podcast, which was done as a joke, as an interim episode between 49, which you were on for Magic Serpent,
right,
and episode 50. Yeah. So it's like, oh, we have one, and we are going to come on and gloat about it. It's just been great. Like I said, a lot of people just from the outside just come in and then they add things, and it's just been tremendous fun. We've done a lot of different genres on here as well. We've done a lot of comedy, which just, I feel like the show just lends itself to that. You only take the storyline in this show seriously enough. It's not madcap comedy, but you only take it seriously enough. We've had some mystery on here. A lot of the season plot lines revolve a bit around mystery. Season 2 in particular, who is really the board of directors? That was a thing. We've done superhero stuff with Crystal Lady Jessica and Nito Ranger. Which has been great. A lot of action. We did the riff track, and although I will say one thing that I have been doing intentionally is I've been trying to move away from using legacy characters in a fanficky sort of way to more of the original characters. So people like Jessica and Raymond and them, because I don't want to put fan fiction down, because I have written fan fiction, and there's still to this day, a lot of fanficky elements to MIFV, but I find it a little more freeing in a lot of ways to focus more on the original characters. And because I think that, I think it lends a little bit more weight to the show, even though I have really enjoyed using the legacy characters.
Well, the thing about the original characters is, since so many of them were created by your fans who have somehow managed to convince you that they are interesting enough to be on your podcast, me, you don't know what their backstory is. You don't know where they're from, what they are, what their motivations are about how they're going to react to a certain situation. I mean, that's why you every time I throw something out for Raymond, you just say, "What? How? How old is he?"
Yeah, that's because that's the running joke. Because he talks like a guy from the 30s and 40s, and we're like, we don't know. It's
But he
just
doesn't
funny.
seem to age, and
He doesn't seem to age. So like that's the joke. Everyone's like, how old are you?
Well,
Raymond told me
not
one
older
time.
than me.
He is Neil.
I don't think I'm your oldest fan, but or your oldest listener, but I
I-
probably got to be up there. Or am I?
I do. I don't know.
Because I turned 55 in December.
Technically, the
So.
oldest at this point.
Oh, you just barely peeled ahead of me there.
Yeah.
You won by a nose.
Gen X 68. Woo.
Try to 68 more. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but I agree with you. It gives us opportunities to do a more world building. Yeah, I'm using a legacy location, but I've really built on top of it, in both figuratively and literally at this point, with it being set on Monster Island and things like that.
Well, you also have
And-
the beta site, so I mean that's a
And the beta-
that's
yeah,
a
the beta
wholly
site.
new thing that you've created, which we haven't really delved into as much as we could.
No, we haven't yet. But I just having brand new characters, it gives us a little bit more, like I said, to explore. There's not the baggage that comes with them, because as much as I enjoy having the legacy characters, most notably, you had Miss Perkins, who was a legacy character disguised as an original character that ended up being Corone from Power Rangers, and I was very proud of how that whole thing panned out. And Celeste Mora, Dallas's wife, did such a great job playing the character.
Yeah.
But whenever I use a legacy character, I always feel the burden of making sure I do right by them. I don't want to ruin the character or come across as pretentious enough to think that I know better necessarily. I'm just a fan. I don't want to come across as such, which has actually been one of the concerns that I've had, because I've had to basically tell myself that MIFV Nate is not necessarily me at this point. He's just another one of my characters. Yeah, he's definitely inspired by me. He's definitely a fictionalized version of me, self-insert if you want to go that far. But I don't want my ego to get so involved with the character that it turns into something that I don't like. Because I have known some content creators who will do review shows. It was YouTubers mostly. And so they had these character personas and they would do story segments with it. But as time went on, people started to realize that they're just writing these fictionalized versions of themselves as a way for them to ego trip. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that. I've gotten almost hypersensitive to the idea. So that's why I always, so whenever I'm writing for MIFV Nate, I try to keep that in mind. Like, just treat him as another character in your stable at this point.
I've actually noticed that when you are your character, when you are Nate as opposed to Nathan, you sit back more and are as engaged with the other characters and like learning something new about them, and just you're fascinated by all that. So you are able to like distance yourself a little bit from the content creator. So that you can enjoy the play as much as the listeners are. And I think that that's an important disconnect to have. So that your ego, one, isn't being hyperinflated, and two, isn't going to be bruised as easily.
Right.
Because creatives are very, very fragile with a hard rock coating.
Yeah. we're the world's toughest M&Ms, right?
Oh, well, it's weird. It's tough in some situations, but there's always that chink that somebody can find that just goes right to the heart of your peanutty gooey center.
Yeah. but speaking of characters, we do have one of them is just about to join us. It is none other than my sister, Sarah.
What up?
Hello,
What does it say? Oh, AKA Jess. Okay, I was like, what else did she put on there?
That's who I am.
The
Yeah.
Jester.
So she's been on. My sister's been on a bonus episode before, and with the Grinch episode,
Yep.
which I think went over better than I expected. So thank you for suggesting that. We had a lot of fun on that.
Told you.
And for those who were on Patreon, I did interview you for a good hour, I think, about playing Jessica.
Yeah, it was a while. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have to get into it that much here, especially since I want to protect as much of that content for the paying customers as possible. But as I said earlier, I am still astonished to this day that I talked you into doing this. I still don't know how I did it.
I mean, I'm still waiting on my T-shirt.
I will. I'll make sure you get your T-shirt. She wants a T-shirt that says what was it? Official MIFV actress or something like that.
Yep. He did finally pay me my coffee.
Well, that's good.
It only took 2 years, but
And it was because I made her sing on the air.
yes.
How
But
rude.
the thing is she can actually sing. That's the thing. Yeah. But yeah, I can't even remember how that conversation went. I just had this cockamamie idea in my head. It's just I should bring back the quote unquote pseudo sister, but maybe I could get Sarah to actually voice her so I don't have to do it anymore. Because that joke was funny once and I don't think I can get away with it again. So do you remember how that conversation? Because I don't.
Not really. I mean, chances are that you were probably hey, so this one time I on my podcast played my own voice pitched up and it was awful. Please help. It was probably more of the please help me more than hey, this would be cool, Sarah. And I was probably all right, fine, I'll rescue you. It'll be fine.
But then it turned into you
Frozen.
I'm not sure who froze.
He did.
Okay. I was mid-sentence. It's either me or him.
No,
I'm
it's
not
him.
sure. All right, cool. Well,
We've had this problem before, and
it's a takeover apparently because this is supposed to be his thing. So.
all right, I'm taking over. Get me a drink. I like the bunny scotch.
Oh,
there he's back. Damn it.
Okay, we're back. I don't know what just happened there, but anyway,
it was a pirate takeover.
Pirate takeover. It was just an international talk like a pirate day.
I put paper towel on my head. There's a bounty on my head.
All right.
Wow.
Very much
but
joke.
anyway, as I was trying to say, is I think one of my selling points eventually later to keep you coming back was it's now you can tell people you're a superhero.
Yeah,
that's true. Yes. Mm-hmm.
But you go along with all of the crazy ideas. We've had some, again, if you listen to some of the outtakes, we've had some pretty intense recording sessions.
Yeah.
Because I'm
yep.
Because I would tell you when you would read a line, it's go bigger.
And I'm okay, fine.
Bigger. But now I at least I would like to think we've gotten to the point now where recording for Jessica is just a fun thing you and I get to do, and I would like to think you've gotten at least a little bit invested in the character.
Yeah, I mean, I always told you, it's playing myself, so it's really not.
I would be lying if I didn't say that a lot of you has been funneled into the character.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's usually not very hard. I just go back to my childhood and channel my inner angst against you as my older brother. And, it's a good way to get rid of that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just I tell everybody, when you hear the sibling rivalry energy there, none of that's acting.
No.
that is 110% real. Just out of curiosity, what's been, I don't know if I asked you this when we did the Patreon interview, but what's been one of your favorite I don't know, recording sessions or moments or whatever with Jessica so far?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I think probably the most memorable was you getting me somehow to sing. I think that was pretty memorable just because I'm like, oh man, now I got to practice this song and don't even know what the show is. And like, because I was just like, this is not my world. This is definitely your world of things that you're into. And so most of the time when you're talking about it, I'm like, this is like Greek. I have no idea what these things are. Cool. So singing a song that I'd never heard before from an anime was like, okay.
Yeah,
right,
it was it was the American Sailor Moon theme,
Yeah,
which made
yep.
Bex happy. But...
Yes, yeah. So, but yeah, I think that was probably one of the more memorable ones. But I don't know. Like I grew up doing acting. I did a lot of more stage things, obviously, than voice things.
Just like Damon.
But yep. And so it's interesting to like record and not always have the interaction of stage blocking and like stage play. And so that I think has been challenging, but also like very interesting for me to like, okay, like I have to figure out how to get into character. Good thing I'm basically playing myself, because getting into character without all the other characters around me is kind of a learning curve. So I think even just that is something that's obviously.
Yeah, because typically what we'll do is that I will read for all the characters around Jessica. So yeah, so you have something to play off of. Now, when Jessica's interacting with Nate, then you and I are going full tilt on that. Yep. But because I'll read for like Mimo and some of the villains and things. Again, listen to the bloopers; they're funny. Yeah, actually, Olivia knows how you feel, Sarah. She says, "I can relate. I had no idea what I was hoping, what I was getting into. Yeah. Hopping into, but I love it. So, I think that's what she was trying to say. So, yeah, and I've still got some fun things planned for Jessica this coming season. I always try to give you a little bit of variety, so it's not always over the top superhero stuff. So I'll give you opportunities to play Jessica as a civilian, just so you don't always have to do the top stuff. Yeah, the corny kind of over the top stuff. But I've talked with you a little bit. I got a whole like character arc and everything planned for Jessica that I think will give you some tremendous opportunities to to really flex some acting muscles for the character, because I don't want her to just be the annoying little sister or the by the numbers superheroine or anything like that. So
it's certainly not pining for Gary all the time. I mean,
that's over with. Although that hasn't been officially announced yet. No, and it's coming up.
And Gary didn't even know that they were an item. So
that was the joke. Yeah. Yeah, because Damon here, Sarah, he's the one who played Gary.
Yes, I know. And I still firmly believe that Gary sounds exactly like Sid the Sloth. So
kind of. He's actually based on the whole shtick of his look and everything is Walter O'Reilly from MASH.
Okay, yep.
And they call him, so he's Gary for Gary Berghoff. And that's like who jumped into my head the first time. But yeah, he's very much has that John Leguizamo, that lick right back here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's super fun to do. Very moist.
Yeah, but you actually said it was inspired by
a friend, a childhood friend named Christopher John DePass. He got 3 named by his mom a lot because he got into trouble a lot. But the poor guy had that lisp, and then he always had to introduce himself. My name is Chris DePass. Please excuse the saliva.
Oh gosh.
I love the guy. He leaned into it, which I think is probably the best part about it, which is why Gary doesn't even acknowledge his lisp.
No.
Yeah.
Although Nate likes to write a lot of S's.
Sometimes it's by accident. Although I used to actually put multiple S's every time there's an S sound. I've eventually just dropped that. It's like, I don't need to do that anymore.
I'm gonna hit them anyway. So
yeah, he's gonna hit them anyway. So
don't be so supercilious.
Yeah,
I will get to the S's. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah, and like nobody on the show even acknowledges it. Like they're just
Nope.
They're
Nope.
just like, it's just Gary.
See,
and then
the
they move
island
on.
is very inclusive.
Ah, yes, there it is.
Inclusivity through kaiju.
Inclusivity. I mean, we have a crazy bug loving superheroine on the podcast.
That's
Well,
right.
look at it this way: we do not shame Godzilla for his thunder thighs.
No, we do not.
Okay, we could. Lord knows we could, because they keep getting more and more extreme as the ages go on. But we accept him for the proud pear-shaped kaiju that he is.
Pear-shaped.
Live in respect.
Yeah, you should see some of them, Sarah. Some Godzillas, yeah, they really are. It's like,
I don't doubt it.
Imagine being the actor, have to stick your legs to that thing and try and make it walk.
That's why the
That's why they walk
90s
funny.
are about beam weapons.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can barely move in them.
all that radiation he eats goes straight to the thighs.
Yeah.
It's basically Godzilla Potato Head.
Yeah. Well, he did not skip leg day. That's for sure.
No, he did not.
For
skip
sure
leg-
did not.
He definitely did not skip leg day. Imagine all the other kaiju. They go to the Monster Island gym, and like anytime they get onto one of the leg machines after Godzilla's done it, they're like they can't move it at all. but then whenever they go to the arm machines, they have to like triple the weight.
Well, I'm thinking poor Manda. He's left out on both of those.
I'm thinking that Godzilla doesn't have very long arms either. He probably doesn't even make it to the arm machines.
He's not quite T-Rex bad, but he's got some pretty scrawny arms.
He is not proportional. No.
No, he's not. He is not. Although in the 90s he had those Schwarzenegger pecs for a while.
That's just scar. It's just scar tissue from all the open heart surgeries he needed because of the cheeseburgers he was eating.
Oh, gosh.
That's quite possible. It's quite possible. But anyway, Sarah, I know you've it's getting late and you've probably got some things to take care of. But thank you for stopping by for
No problem.
a little bit to celebrate. And if you want to hang out in the chat, maybe go for some more prizes a little bit later on if you want. That would be cool.
I mean, you said there was
Otherwise-
a T-shirt. Worst comes to worst, I
Yes,
just paint
one of the
my own
giveaways.
thing on the back. For goodness sake.
Yes,
It's just
there will be a
snap on
T.
it, it's-
I mean, it's-
Spoiler warning, one of the giveaways will be a T-shirt.
Oh.
Not that I'll get the right answer, but
You could
Well,
try.
Just remember the point of the thing is to understand what you're doing rather than to get the right answer.
I
It's just like
I
new
have-
math.
When you get to the shirt, I have a secret plan for winning. I'll probably be disqualified, but I have
Putting
a secret plan
your
for
brother in
winning.
a headlock.
I can't.
No,
He's
no,
in
you
a
don't even-
different. He's in a different place. I
Oh
can't.
no! That's,
But she, but she has done it.
You've probably done it to me more than I've done it to you.
oh,
Well, that's because I'm the big brother.
and now we need your mom to come in and say, "Be nice to your sister."
Oh, she probably will.
She's probably right, in the room right behind you. Why is she?
You just need.
being so mean to his sister?
You just need to make Mama moderator of the chat, and she can go in and tell everybody to be nice. Like,
Give her
hey,
give her
be
the
nice.
give her the Jimmy button.
The Jimmy button. No, Olivia, there is no family drama. Okay.
No, there's
there's
always
not.
family drama. They're from the Midwest. They just bury it beneath nicest.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Oh,
Oh, bless your soul. Oh yeah, sure you betcha. Yeah.
No. That's a South thing.
No, bless your soul is a South thing, but yeah, sure you betcha is. Yeah, sure you betcha is Minnesota. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're not from Minnesota.
I
so we
know,
don't
but you're
say
close.
that.
Close.
That's true. We are
Stayed
close.
stayed away.
That's true.
Oh,
Only a state
Oh, no.
away.
You summoned her.
I told you.
Summoned her. You
Yes.
and Olivia says, "Mama,
Marsh,
Marchand is
yeah.
Hey, Mom, be nice. You actually got name dropped in the podcast once. You are the reason why Jessica, the character Sarah plays, doesn't sound like me on helium anymore. You gave her voice lessons."
Yep.
Thus spake Mama Marchand. It doesn't sound the same as
Zarathustra?
Ozymandias, but
Oh, well, I thought it was
or Zarathustra. You know, there.
Zarathustra.
Yeah,
And
Zarathustra.
Sarah's
Yeah,
just
has
like,
the weight
y'all
to
are a
it.
bunch of nerds. Why am I
You have.
I
no
told you it's
idea.
perfect. That's why you make her the moderator, because she
Yeah.
doesn't know what people are yelling about, so she can just, you start fighting about monster this and like, Godzilla's better, no Mothra's better, and she'll be like, "Hey, be nice. It doesn't matter. I don't even know who those are."
They're imaginary.
Yeah, well,
That's right,
apparently she agrees.
Yes.
Actually, there was music notes after that. That's
So it's
probably
probably
that's right
because
to
I said
the
she gave Jessica
voice
lessons.
lessons. Yeah.
And you two are and in canon in the podcast you are, because it's meta, you are one of her best friends.
Correct.
You
Correct.
taught her, you told her all of the dirty secrets about me. That's why she's such a great obnoxious pseudo sister.
Yep. It's great. It's great when you're best friends with yourself.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh,
He's
my
also his
gosh,
own worst enemy.
This is also true. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, good grief. We're getting a little too meta for my taste right here. But thank you, Sarah, again for
Yeah.
stopping by.
No problem.
And I look forward to recording with you again. And you can, like punch me on the air or something, And then
I already have.
you can do it again.
Okay.
And we'll do
The
it when
Nerf
Mom
gun
isn't
could make a
looking.
new appearance with the Nerf gun.
Oh yes,
Got it.
yes. The Christmas Day massacres. Yes,
They're massacres because you have not won yet.
Oh.
We are getting some
You
family
say
drama
that now, but then I'm just gonna walk in there at like 3:00 in the morning when you don't expect it and just shoot you and run away.
Okay, brother, what we got here is a family throwdown. Midwest.
All right, we'll settle our score later. But again,
Yep.
thanks
Right.
for stopping by. I
See ya.
really appreciate it. All right,
Yeah.
bye.
Nice to meet you, Jessica.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
Sarah.
probably should go
Get
into
it,
Sarah.
Oh,
She
Sarah.
said-
She is
I did the
Sarah,
same thing.
not Jessica.
I did the same thing. It's nice to put a face to the voice, though,
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
to finally get to see
Sure.
her, because
Yeah.
I've worked with her on several episodes, and it's like, huh.
Because you are
Okay.
our arch nemesis.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I probably should go into tonight's a work night for me. So
Me too.
Yeah.
yeah, so thanks for
Yeah.
having me on.
Yeah. If you want to keep listening for a little bit, try to get one of the prizes, go for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have at least a few people for the grand finale because I'm going all out for round 5. So yeah, but Jake Hambrick says he also needs to get going. He says I have to
Aw.
sign up. But congratulations, Nate, for 4 years, and hope you guys have a good night. Nate, make a Magic Girl comic, please. Yeah, I had this crazy idea a few weeks ago while I was tabling and sell at Gen Con selling books. And I'm like, maybe I should turn Crystal Lady Jessica into a comic book.
Ooh.
I
Then you come dangerously close to copyright infringement.
have clever ways around that.
Okay. Okay.
I came up with a really cool name for a Mothra pastiche. Because I like all the copyrighted stuff, I would tweak it so that it's not copy, so it's original. And I came up with a really good name for a Mothra pastiche. I was very proud of myself.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well,
So anyway, but speaking of the chat, we had a few more people in here. I think I've acknowledged bye Neil. I think I have acknowledged that we've got the Omni viewer in here,
Yeah.
and he apparently writes backwards. Help! I'm wait.
Trapped in the mirror dimension.
Mirror dimension. Wow, someone worked hard on that comment.
That's when you froze, and
Yeah,
I had to pirate your feed.
Yeah, and then Chris says, gotta get ready for work, Nate. Hope you have at least 40 more anniversaries for MIFV. Oh my gosh, sir. That's a lot.
I'm Nate Mush, and I'm still broadcasting from.
Hello, Kaiju lovers.
Now you got to
Where's
know
my
that
teeth?
I need my Ovaltine.
And we also have Brendan from Autistic Lizard Productions in the house. It's great to see you in there. Some more stuff from Gamera Sith here says, I wonder if you have a custodial staffer who's obsessed with Gamera. Well, we do have a custodial guy. He's made one appearance on the show.
That's true. You have.
Yeah.
And I did not get to voice him. I did not win that lottery.
No, you didn't. That was Danny. Danny. It was the old janitor, because his old man voice is really good. And Olivia says she's staying on till she wins.
Well, she's got that youthful energy. I mean,
yeah, well, yeah, even more than me, because she's 16. Oh yeah, Neil is telling me thanks for having him on the show. So, all right. So let's go on to the next trivia, and it would help if I could, it'd help if everyone could see it. Okay. Don't give an answer. I haven't said go.
Oh no.
But I have I have a picture of this one. Let me do I'm going to do a full screen on here, and for this one, the prize will be an Kaiju movie of your choice. So any of the main series Kaiju episodes, so all the movies that we've covered, the winner gets to pick one of their choice, and I will send it to them. Now, it won't be from my personal collection, but if you have a particular one that you either don't have a copy of or something like that, and you would like to have one, I will make that happen for you. I wanted one of the giveaways to be a movie, but I'm like, it could be possible people have a bunch of these movies already, so that's why you get to pick which one you want. So for those who want a quick rundown, your choices can be the original Jurassic Park, Rampage, Power Rangers 2017, Pacific Rim, Colossal, The Giant Claw, Cloverfield, the original Blob. Then what is 20 Million Miles to Earth, Them, which is another really good one with surprisingly progressive female characters. Mighty Joe Young from 1949, so the original Lost World. So there you go. Got a lot of great ones to pick from. So our question for this one is, in what episode did Raymond Martin first appear? Do you even know this, Damon?
I think I do, but I'm not going to say anything.
All right, so your choices are A, episode 33, Submersion of Japan, B, episode 34, Gamera versus Barugon, C, episode 36, Gamera versus Gyaos, or D, episode 38, actually, yeah, it's 38, Godzilla versus Kong. Go. That's your cue, people. Start throwing the answers.
Well, that's not King Kong versus Godzilla. That's the
no. It's Godzilla versus Kong. 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would be King Kong versus Godzilla.
Right.
I know
because King Kong was the winner. Because I remember that. I recognized that when I was a kid, that if whoever's name came first was always the winner of the verses.
Yeah.
That's why I knew. That's why as a kid I knew there wasn't a Japanese version of King Kong versus Godzilla.
Right. That was, there are people.
It was a weird rumor.
Believe that rumor to this day.
It was a rumor put out in I don't know if it was Famous Monsters of Filmland, but it was one of the mags at the time that someone just pulled it out of their tush and just said this is what was really, and I'm sure it's based on the fact that we get the dubs and they have the actual movie. I'm sure that's where his thought process was. But yeah, completely unsubstantiated.
Yeah,
and
I joked for a while that if Adam Wingard really wanted to mess with people, he should actually film two endings, and then depending on which theater you went to, or if like if you saw it in IMAX instead of a regular theater, you got a different ending, and then people would go online and be like, "Wow, I didn't think Kong would win. No, Godzilla won, you moron."
And they did that with that. Yeah, they did that with Clue. So
yeah, just like Clue. That's like, that would be brilliant, but he didn't do that. I'm sure the studio would have put the kibosh on it.
It would have been prohibitively expensive, based on the CGI. I mean, look at that last fight. So it just would have been too expensive.
Yeah. And then you would basically force Legendary to basically say, yeah, that's the canonical ending.
Or you have then the third ending when Tim Curry comes out and says, "I did it. I won."
Or it was everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody killed everybody, and they all get arrested by.
And Mechagodzilla was a red herring.
It was a red herring. I love Clue. I don't know why people don't. But anyway, in the chat, we've got Olivia sticking with B. I like the confidence. Gamera versus Barugan. Gamera versus Barugan. I like the confidence. Unfortunately, Sarah wins. It was Gyaos, which was also your first appearance as a guest host. So we just killed two birds with one stone there.
That was the Super Happy Fun Time episode where you had to watch MST3K, the cut-up version, and we got to see the unexpurgated version.
No, you guys
really
saw the MST3K.
I
saw.
Oh, that's right.
That was the gimmick. That was the gimmick. The MST3K episodes. You guys got to watch the MST3K episodes. I had to watch the movie straight in Japanese.
I watched both because I wanted to see. I mean, I knew what it was already, but I wanted to see the stuff that was cut out.
Right.
So I went and watched the original afterwards. But yeah, super fun.
Sarah says, Jurassic Park, please. That's the only reason I guessed and lost my shirt. I might still let you. Where we've got some dwindling numbers in the chat, so I might because we got two more rounds of. Two more rounds of giveaways, so I might still let you compete.
I think it's because it's so late. It's for you guys at least.
I was a little concerned about that.
It says one watching now from my end.
No, it says 4 on my
end.
4.
Okay, I must be.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. But anyway, we'll move on to the next slide. Actually, a couple of slides, and
good Lord.
Again, the StreamYard is not doing this any favors. So I'm going to full screen this just to make it a little bit easier.
Big.
This is the season. This is the upcoming episodes for season 4. I made this announcement on social media, but due to behind the scenes issues and just a lot of issues with production delay and an excessive amount of ambition on my part, I have had to postpone, even though about half of it's already recorded. I have postponed season 4 until 2024. There will be interim episodes, like I just put out a bonus episode on Gamera Rebirth with the Cellcast. So it's not that you will get 0 content between now and the end of the year, but season 4 is just not going to start. There are 2 episodes left to season 3. One is mostly edited. The other one has yet to be edited. That has you in it, Damon, although it's you as Raymond.
Oh no.
Raymond and Gary, which I was so proud of you with that recording. And
why, sir? Why would you be proud?
Because you pulled it off. You stayed in character.
Oh my God, that episode. Oh my God.
you made it work, and it was great. It was so funny.
I'm glad you thought so. My wife is still mad at me for making her watch that movie.
For the Asylum's Monster Island.
Oh my! And she says, "What?"
It's pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible.
Why does a battleship have a wooden door? Why is Eric Roberts just phoning it in? Literally.
And you're like, you don't understand. You don't understand the Asylum, do you? Oh, the Asylum. There's something. There's something. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm referencing my actual PowerPoint so I can read it properly, because I can't even read it when it's on full screen like this, unfortunately. Because it's just StreamYard, you upset me. You upset me. I'm going to leave it up there regardless, but
I'm not seeing an episode in here.
No, season 4. Here's the thing. It's getting postponed.
Right.
But here's the benefit. I won't be blitzing through the episodes like a madman.
Right.
to get it back on track, because I really did want to start season 5 in 2024, because I have some crazy ideas for season 5, but I will be putting the Film Vault back on its regular schedule, which will be very nice for me.
Yes.
So I won't be scrambling to get things done. But one thing that I just to let everybody know, the theme for it, I think I mentioned this last year for the 3rd anniversary live stream when I thought it would start this year, was the Monster Island World Tour. I didn't go into what the narrative was going to be, but I won't get into too much of it. I'd like to play that a little bit closer to the vest, but it will center around Nate and Jimmy actually not being being on Monster Island for the most part. Basically, a bunch of kaiju have quote unquote escaped, and the board has sent Nate and Jimmy to go wrangle them and bring them back to the island. So they will be going to different countries that are not America or Japan that have produced kaiju movies, because the escaped kaiju have gone back to their home countries.
And that's where I'm not seeing
That's because
Denmark.
there's a second slide.
Oh, well,
There's a second slide. So
There you
if
go.
you want to, this was actually taken from the episodes page, the MIFV episodes page
I see.
on monsterislandfilmvault.com. So none of this is new. You can go on there, you could see it.
Right.
So the other thing that's going to be different about this season is I'm going to be experimenting a little bit. Most of this has already been recorded, but I will be doing a purely narrative episode. I kind of did it with the end of season 2, where Nate had to interview the Cameron Winter. But we're going to be taking it to the next level with this one, because that was basically just one scene, kind of two, but it was in the same setting. But we'll be doing what I'm calling a season prelude, and this one will be called Jailbreak. That will set everything up. Raymond will be in it. Gary will be in it. Most of the characters are going to be in it. And, by the end of it, Nate and Jimmy are going to be going off in Uber Mogra, not Mechanical Mark II, because that got trashed and it's still being repaired.
Of course.
Yep. So we get the inferior mecha, but we still have a mecha. So they're going to be traveling around the world, wrangling these kaiju and talking about whatever movie that it is that they're in. So I mentioned earlier that Jonathan Cartwright found me through the Henchman episode of Super Inframan. Super Inframan will be the season premiere, because normally, with some exceptions, we do our episode coverage chronologically. We're doing it geographically this season. So since Ogasawara is part of Japan, we're just going to keep going west. So obviously the first place we're going to hit that has kaiju movies is Hong Kong, or China, if you will. So, that's why we're going to, so that's why we'll be getting Super Inframan. And some people are like, well, that doesn't count. It's like, there's a kaiju scene, so shut up. And 2, I need an excuse to talk about this movie again, because it is glorious, mad nonsense.
I'll agree with you. The mad nonsense for it. I don't know about glorious, but okay.
Okay, quick question here from Olivia. She wants to know if the Monster and Film Vault has a Discord. I don't have a Discord, mostly because I'm still trying to figure Discord out. I'm a millennial. I'm not a Zoomer, so I haven't. It's not necessarily a natural environment for me. Plus, I was like, do I really want to add another social media to manage? So, Olivia, if you're willing to volunteer to manage a Discord for me,
moderator.
Yeah, and then she says, if you want help, if you want help, I can, if you want to make one. So there you go. Yeah, she says, I'm on it. All right, we'll talk tomorrow or something after the stream is done. Probably not tonight, but we'll talk. Okay, we'll talk. Because I do have a Discord account for the podcast. I made it for Kaiju Quarantine. So anyway, like I said, we're going to be going geographically. So we'll start with Super Inframan, because I just want an excuse to talk about it. Something that I put on here, a special report on Monarch Legacy of Monsters that starts in November and it finishes in January because it's not the Netflix model. I don't have Apple TV Plus, so I don't know how they work, but no, they do the weekly model, which I think is a better idea anyway. So what I'm thinking I will do for that is I will watch each episode and I will record something short, like about 20 minutes or so, I'm thinking, for each episode, but those will be Patreon exclusives. And then when the show is finished in January, I'll do a supercut of all of them with a new segment at the end that wasn't on Patreon, where I do final thoughts and on the entire series. So if you want to get the lowdown on them as I go, join Patreon. Otherwise, you'll get a nice supercut by the end of it, covering all 10 episodes in January when it wraps up. And then, Godzilla Redux is going to continue. Neil, you're going to see Neil's name popping up a lot next season. He's going to be coming on for Son of Godzilla and All Monsters Attack and Yongari, the original Yongari, because yes, we're going to get to Korea. There's a lot of Korea kaiju movies. That was the hard part of season 4, was figuring out which Korean movies I wanted. It was a little bit like that with Hong Kong because I kept finding more. Although a lot of them are schlockbusters from the last 5 years. So I'm like, probably not. But people know about Inframan. People know about Mighty Peking Man. So like, I have to cover those. Those are kind of quintessential at this point. And Patreon episodes are going to be coming back. There's going to be one extra Patreon episode this year because Matt Walsh, but not that Matt Walsh, is a crazy man who decided to jump on the $100 tier, even though that's really only there as a joke.
Not to him, it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just throw it in. If you're going to pay me that much money, okay, fine. You get in an episode. And so with schedules, it came out, it works out nicely in season 4 now with the new schedule to be a bonus episode, and it will be over the Abominable Snowman from 1957, making this the first Hammer film covered on the podcast.
And if I do say so, since I do know Atomic Age movies, and that's what, 57, right?
57, yeah.
Yeah. It is, strangely enough, probably the best of the Abominable Snowman Yeti movies out there. It's the dialogue is actually quite good.
Okay, yeah,
so
and
isn't
trying to remember his name his name is escaping me, but Grand Moff Tarkin? Peter Cushing, is he in it?
Yes, he is.
Okay, that makes it even better. All right.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Peter Cushing.
You can't go wrong with Peter Cushing. But speaking of you have a Patreon episode this year, and it's another first. Yes. It's a double feature. I almost want to give it, I almost want to, instead of the film titles are great for analytics, but I almost wish I could tack on an actual episode title with this, and I would like to call it Corman's Crabs. Because you and I have been, we have been making so many crab jokes, because this is one of the episodes that got recorded early when I thought it would be out this year. And so I've been sitting on this for a while. You and I have been making so many crab jokes because that recording was hilarious.
We had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun on that one. So Attack of the Crab Monsters, which is, I think I said this was actually, weirdly enough, it took this long. It's the first Roger Corman movie that the Film Vault has covered.
I believe it was, yeah.
I believe so.
I had to bring it in.
Yeah, and then you found, because of another podcast, a movie I had never heard of that seemed like an unintentional remake, and then I managed to find it. Yeah. I could find almost nothing.
There is a dearth of information.
Claws. It was a TV movie from the 80s.
It was an actual movie that was shelved and then shown on television. That's the thing, is it wasn't actually made for TV. That's what's so interesting about it, is they actually wanted, and it's got Robert Lansing in it, for crying out loud. He's a bankable actor, and it's like, okay.
I know.
And it went nowhere.
I know. And you'll see on here, we're going to do another April Fool's Day episode. So it'll be another Monster Island Gatekeepers, which I think the format for that just works very well for an April Fool's Day episode. I won't say more details other than that. I'm kicking around some ideas, but they'll get an April Fool's Day episode. I mentioned earlier, Elijah's going to come on and make a valiant defense of Reptilian, which is the late 90s, early 2000s remake of Yongari. And I'm like, what? And he did it. I don't think he convinced me too much, but he made honestly one of the best defenses, like sincere defenses of a bad movie I've ever seen. Because for those who don't know, Reptilian, for a lot of people, is the Room of kaiju movies.
It deserves the hate. It really does.
Right. And there will be, I'm just going to put it in, you'll get an extra episode that month, but it's too big to ignore. There will be an episode on Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. There will be a proper episode, which will essentially be like the new season finale with the interim season 3. You will get one for -1 as well.
Cool.
And Jack G-Man Hudgens will be the guest for that one. So just to let everybody know, that's why the episode numbering is a little off. I'm going to have to re-record all the episode numbering. And so we're going to spend a lot of time in Korea because there's a lot to pick from Korea. And, Hedera, we're going to get to Hedera. We're going to get up almost all the way finished with the Showa era with Godzilla Redux. Hedera has been weirdly popular. A lot of people want to be on for that. So I'm still trying to finalize that at this point, the guest list. A lot of people.
It's fantastic. We love it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So like you'll see a lot of, and yes, we're going to tackle Pulgasari.
Yes.
Episode 93, Pulgasari. Oh, I'm going to have, I have found, that was the last one that I was doing extensive research on before I made the decision to postpone.
Yep.
The things I found out about that movie. Oh
Scary.
my gosh. It's scary and fascinating all at the same time. If you guys want some homework in anticipation of this, read a book called A Kim Jong-il Production by Paul Fisher. One of the most fascinating books I have ever read. It's a biography that reads like equal parts thriller and farce. It's nutty. And you and I talked off cast, actually, Damon, about how this story should be made into a movie or
Absolutely.
something.
Absolutely.
Or I would prefer actually like a streaming miniseries or something like that, because it's separated into 3 parts anyway. So you could just do like a 2-hour, part over the course of a couple of months, and then
I can't even
or a
imagine
week
the platform for it. I mean, I would want to do it like on Amazon Prime. Because they seem to give their people a lot of leeway, and because you could do so much with this, because it reads the whole event is like a 3-act play.
Yes, yeah,
and that's 3 seasons right there.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to that episode, and so there's lots of cool stuff to talk about with that. It's one of the most infamous kaiju movies ever made. I'm going to be honest with you. Like as is true with most of the Korean stuff, with the exception of the host, because obviously you have to talk about the host.
Yes.
It's like a kaiju podcast tradition. You have to talk about the host. You just can't get away from it. But the story around the movie, honestly, is more interesting than the movie itself, or the movie's historic significance outweighs its artistic merits, with the exception of the host, I would say. But at least out of the stuff that we're covering this year. But Pulgasari is just, the story around it is just absolutely insane, with the kidnapped director and everything else. I'm really looking forward to that. And in both the film discussion and the narrative portion of the episode, I'm not pulling any punches with North Korea. We are going full tilt satire with that story segment. I am promising you right now.
Okay.
North Korea is not safe. Going to be safe in that episode.
Well, they shouldn't be.
I mean, there's just some things about North Korea that it's just asking for it. Like, not to give too much away, but no joke, people, sarcasm is illegal in North Korea. Kim Jong-un banned it because he didn't want people to agree with him, ironically.
Yeah.
So 3 words, Nate is screwed. he is so screwed. Also, keep in mind, Nate and Jimmy are in a giant robot. And Pulgasari eats iron.
Mm.
Their transportation is the biggest snack he's ever seen.
Well, it depends on when you catch him. Has he shrunk back down by then?
Oh, yeah, he's a big boy.
Okay, he's a big boy. Got it.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy. So yeah. And then we'll have another Patreon episode from the Cellcast. We get to talk about Star Wars. That'll be a first. We're going to be talking about 2
Really?
episodes of the Clone Wars because
Oh,
they
the
had a
Clone
kaiju in it.
Yes,
A
they
kaiju
did.
who is technically named after Godzilla, the Zillo Beast.
Which, strangely enough, I just watched the Bad Batch, which is about,
And it came back, yeah.
and it came back. It was a juvenile, and they were Empire was transporting it, and it got loose.
Yep.
And then,
Now, I will be doing my due diligence and making sure that I catch up on the Bad Batch just so I can see that episode
Yeah.
and talk about it at least
Super
a little bit
fun.
on there. And then page 2 of the season 4 preview. So we'll be going to Thailand, talking about the lake. It was almost Garuda. I'm glad the lake came out because Garuda's terrible.
Yes.
It's terrible. The annual Harryhausen episode is coming back again this year with Elijah because he and I both share a birthday with Ray Harryhausen, June 29th. So we're going to keep up that tradition. And since we're going backwards, we will be getting to Golden Voyage of Sinbad next year.
Yes.
Yep. And then we're going to talk about Troll Hunters. We'll be going to Norway. I found a weird little independent movie called The Barbados Project. I'm going to do a solo episode on that. And then we're going to have basically Damon Noise month again because you're coming on for Godzilla versus Megalon because you actually saw it in the theater.
I saw it
back in the day.
74, I believe.
78.
78. Yeah, it was dubbed. It was in a small theater in a mall in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
So
it will be you and Kaiju Kim because Kaiju Kim basically insisted that to be on for that episode, and I will not besmirch the queen.
I will do my utmost to give her equal time because this is one of my
you'll be fine.
favorite bad movies.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite bad movies too. Yeah. But then, if you think that's a big deal, the man finally gets to live the dream.
It is only my right.
He's been waiting
4 years.
And he has talked to me and at least one other podcast. He's like, I must be on because I love this movie. I love Reptilicus.
This is one of those that this is an Elijah Thomas moment. I am going to unabashedly support and defend this movie to my utmost.
And we'll be looking at, as you requested, the original Danish version
of Reptilicus. I think for completionist sake, we need to do a compare and contrast.
Oh yeah, I'll watch both. I've seen the American version.
Because
both of them.
Sid Pink, he had everybody there. He only replaced one actress for the American version, but the fact that they filmed them simultaneously, we have to talk about both of them and the insanity that ensued after that.
Yes, because it's sort of a musical.
Oh my god. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yep. Oh, sorry, Olivia. She says she has to go to bed. Her parents are telling her to go to bed. She says she's had fun chatting, and then chat with her about a Discord. Yeah, we'll do that.
Sure.
Yeah, we do. The Camera Sith is. I think he's a little behind on the stream. He says Shin Godzilla always skips Arm Day.
Indeed.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and then he also says, "I'm glad I'm an only child and father of twin boys and 2 girls." Oh boy. So yes, get to live the dream. Reptilicus. Yes. Gonna be great. And then we're gonna get to another milestone. And I'm not gonna give too much away. I want to keep this pretty secret, but we're gonna get to episode 100 of MIFV in season 4. And I've got big plans for it. All I will tell you is that the title of the episode will be Fantasy Monster Islands. But that one should be a hoot. If we do what I want to do, it should be a hoot. And I'm really looking forward to that one. And then, we'll get some more Patreon picks there. We're going to be talking about some Power Rangers. And then we get to Britain.
Oh, no.
We get to Britain because there are several kaiju movies from Britain that we can talk about. And I think I actually get all of them. Unless you want to count as the sequel to Monsters, which I don't.
It's not good.
Nah.
It's
Yeah,
not good.
I don't have any interest. So yeah, we'll be getting Conga, and the giant behemoth will be a bonus episode, and then we'll get Gorgo and Gareth Edwards Monsters, and then we'll finish off with a Patreon episode, another double feature from Brad Edelman. He requested the Amazing Colossal Man and its sequel, War of the Colossal Beast.
Super fun.
Yep. So that should be interesting. And the narrative for the end of the season will be very intense. Let me tell you, it will be very intense when we get there with all the other shenanigans. This next season is going to be more episodic. So the main episodes, you'll get the full-fledged audio dramas. Anything that other than that, like in the Godzilla Redux or the Patreon episodes, I'm experimenting a little bit. Then I'll be doing monologues. So it'll be like Nate recording his journal. So you'll be hearing monologues about other shenanigans that go down that don't have anything to do with wrangling the kaiju. You'll also notice on here, we've got a couple more bonus episodes that, so the Kaiju Crypt for next year will be Green Thoughts by John Collier, which is the story that inspired Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
And I'm going to do another Christmas episode. We'll do a Christmas episode this year too. But next year, and continuing with the kaiju adjacent Christmas episodes, we're gonna do Jingle All the Way, because it's technically got a henshin hero in it, so it's close enough and kind of a kaiju. So
kind of.
I know it's not a good movie. Trust me, it is one of my holiday guilty pleasures. My sister has The Grinch. I have Jingle All the Way.
I think I have finally abandoned all my guilty pleasures when it comes to the holidays.
Well,
I take that back. The wife and I watch Princess Bride on Valentine's Day. Even though
that's
we
not
both
a guilty pleasure. What's wrong with
well, I'm not saying it's a guilty. This is a holiday kind of theme thing.
Oh,
and
okay.
On the 4th of July, we watch 1776, the musical, because that's one of my favorite musicals of all time. And on Halloween, we watch The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ah, excellent. Well, and this year
it's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Christmas special this year, I'm planning on having Bex and her husband Tim to talk about one of their guilty pleasures, Santa Jaws.
Oh my
that's
God.
a movie that exists.
Yes, it does. Oh, I saw it. I saw it when I was looking up shark movies. It's like I was that close. I was that close to clicking it. And then I realized I like my sanity.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It is really weird. And it really does take itself seriously. It's crazy how
it can't be
seriously
any
it takes
worse
itself.
than Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. So, I mean,
Oh, well,
be careful. Be
mm,
careful. That's actually a guilty pleasure for my wife.
I'm going to say I don't find it as entertaining as Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Ooh,
But it's mostly because that's one of the best MST3Ks ever.
And it's a rough movie if you're not watching it with being riffed.
Yeah.
It's
it
incredibly
is.
rough.
It is.
But it has a young Pia Zadora, so that's
This is
supposed to save
This
it.
is true. But now I've got something special for all of you. The patrons have already seen this, but I'm unveiling it here. MIFV is getting a new logo in season 4. Here you go. Our new logo.
Shaboom!
Shaboom. Yes. Thanks to Rebecca Hudgens. And for those of you who are listening to the audio of this, I'm sorry that you can't see what this looks like. So this new artwork is by Rebecca Hudgens, the sister of Jack G-Man Hudgens. The text, I will say, was made courtesy of Michael Hamilton, so that was very helpful. And for those who can't see it, if you're listening to this, what we have here is it's similar to the current logo with Goji-kun. That's what I like to call him, coming out of a gigantic safe with a film reel in his mouth. Well, in this one, you have a safe in the background that looks like it's been scorched and it's still hot. And then you have both Goji-kun and Brokong, two of the mascots for the show, and they are fighting over a film reel while Ultramite, that's what I like to call him, he's actually appeared on the show once. Goji-kun and Brokong have been on a couple of times, but Ultramite's only been on once. And so, he's getting in the middle of them, trying to break up the fight while they're fighting over a film reel. It's delightful and cute and wonderful, and I can't wait to start using it in season 4.
That means new T-shirts for patrons.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's like you know what's coming.
Why would that as producer?
It's like you know what's coming because we're gonna give away one of those T-shirts for the next trivia. But before you answer any of those questions, people, I'm gonna show you what I have been busy doing today. I have been making new shirts. Yes, quite. Yes, quite. Yes. Yeah, I've been making new shirts for our, for the T Public store that I need to. Oh, crap. What is that? We're doing some inception. I don't know what I don't know what just happened. I don't know what just happened there. Okay.
Inception.
So, okay. Share screen, Chrome tab. There we go. That's the one I need. There we go. All right. There we go. So this is the T Public store. And I spent a good part of the afternoon today after work making a bunch of new shirts, including, let me see if I can highlight this one. It's not just shirts, it's a bunch of other things, but here you can get the new logo on a t-shirt and on some other products. Now you can get it on a mug and stickers, all kinds of stuff. All right. Okay. So, you can get that. And yes, I know, 20% off. I also, because it was something simple to do, I decided that I need to merchandise the catchphrases. So now you can start buying merchandise with MIFV catchphrases on here, including "Hello, Kaiju lovers," complete with 15 O's and 3 exclamation points.
It's not overkill at all.
No. I think I've decided from now on, the official spelling is 15 O's.
Okay.
And you can see down here, you can get it on a hoodie and a mug and sticker. And then you'll see some other ones. I've also got shameless self-promotion. But that one I actually attribute to the character. Because, this one, everybody, if you know the show, you know what that's from. Right. And then we've also got a few from Jimmy, because you have to. So Nick Adams is my spirit animal, Jimmy from NASA. I thought about almost doing that one without it, just because I wasn't sure if it would be funnier that way or not.
It would elicit questions from, it's already going to elicit questions from people, but if you had it just Nick Adams is my spirit animal, people would say, who's Nick Adams? And then you can say, oh, sit down, I have to tell you about somebody.
Yeah. And then I don't want to talk about it because which that one I definitely had to put Jimmy from NASA on there, because otherwise it's not really going to make sense. This would be funny without context. Yes. But I left the context anyway. But this one wouldn't work without context. And then because I had to, because this is it technically started with MIFV, but then it showed up on my other podcasts, and then it just ballooned from there. Even though it technically started with the Film Vault, but it was just off the air. But yes, quite. William H. George III. That was something that Michael would say when playing the character off cast, just to get into character, and then it just started showing up on the Power Trip and Henshin Men and all of that on the other shows. It didn't get actually said on MIFV, until we did, I think, the first Nessie's Brasserie episode.
I think you're
So,
right.
Yeah, so it developed a life of its own, even though it technically started there on the other podcasts I do. And then, because this was one that you like, but it hasn't been coming up nearly as much since the end of season 2, which is I have fulfilled my contractual obligations, which could work, I think, without context, but I put it in there anyway.
It would work because that does make sense to most people. They would understand the context,
right?
Within the context of their own lives, I guess.
Right. So I don't know. I might modify that one a little later. And then, of course, we have Jimmy. Cue the credits. So all 4 of the primary catchphrases for MIFV you can now get on various products.
And that is shameless self-promotion right there.
That is shameless self-promotion right there. Yeah. And you can get the shirts. The shirts can come in a variety of colors. You can get one. I made it black by default because these just work best with black, but you can get all kinds of different colors here, if you want. And most of them, I may modify some of these, but it looks like most of them are going to be okay with the white text. That one, not quite as much, so I might get rid of that color, but
purple's good.
Yep. They all generally work pretty well, and then you can get a hoodie, you can get, a kid's t-shirt, you can get a mug, with shameless self-promotion on it. It's great stuff. It's great stuff.
Oh my God, it's just terrible. I can't understand it.
Yeah. So for this giveaway, the winner will get to select a shirt of their choice. And I'm doing it that way because I need to make sure I get a proper size because I don't just want to, you get the shirt and then it's too big for them. I don't want that. So that's why I say so you get to pick a shirt of your choice and you'll need to tell me your size and then I'll get that to you as soon as I can.
I can't play this game. I cannot play this game.
Why can't you play?
Because I already know the answer.
To the next question?
Yeah. Because you blurred it up there and I went, oh, I know the answer to this one.
Oh, yeah. I think Gamera Sith is already trying. I think you're like, Mom says, hey, now I know what your 2023 Christmas ornament will be. Thanks, Mom. What? They get shirts and I'm still waiting? Well, you want to compete? We've only got a few people left in the chat. So, Sarah, if you want to compete for this one, I'll let you. I don't care. Oh, Asylum sucks so bad. Yes, it does, Gamera Sith. It does. All right. So, I'm going to put the question back up on the board. Here it is. Which of the following MIFV characters is not voiced by Damon Noyes? A. Mimo. B. Raymond Martin. C. Montpriester Herzog Jerry Knockfalter. Or D. Mr. Gold. Go.
I'm confused. I am extremely confused right now. I don't know who to answer as.
Well, can we consult all of them?
They're also diverse.
Not me.
Listen here, you bozo. Why do you have to drag me into your shenanigans? I was just fine sitting here with my cognac. My after dinner pipe. How dare you? This is only for the plebeians.
The plebeians.
I do not. It seems that someone is trying to mock my accent. I do not understand why this is. Does he want to be perhaps visited by one of my special Mosra girls? I shall make it worth your while. No, Mr. Marchand, I expect you to die.
If he ever actually does that, someone needs to call him out to be like, "That's Goldfinger, you moron."
Well, it has to be a gold moth girl then.
No, this is true.
I'm
This
sure
is
we can
very true.
find one.
I'm sure we can find one. Yes, yes, quite. But
And she has
here's the
laser
thing.
antenna. Okay.
Okay, Damon.
Mm,
Damon.
mm.
We need to figure something out here. We do have two answers in here. Technically, Gamera Sith jumped the gun.
Bad Leroy Brown.
So what do we do here? Because here's the thing. He said D twice. My
3
sister
times.
said D. And they are correct.
Yes, they are correct.
The only one of these three characters you don't voice is Mr. Gold. That's Michael.
Yes.
So what do we do here? Because he jumped the gun, but he was technically
I think there needs to be a tiebreaker, like a lightning round question.
Unfortunately, I don't know what that would be
It
at
has
the
to.
moment.
Yeah,
I mean, I could be nice and just say you both win.
And then they each get half a t-shirt?
And then they get half a t-shirt. And then they have, and it's like, I was gonna make a Solomon cutting the baby in half joke, but I realized that if the shirt's already cut in half, it doesn't work. But
well, I mean, I'm thinking there's two possible tiebreaker questions. Like,
okay.
I think Sarah would get.
Okay, you want to type it out in the private chat?
Yeah, let's see. That's one. That's the one that might be harder to
okay.
get.
Even though I do think we talked about that earlier in the stream.
Yeah, we did.
And what's your other one? We also talked about that one.
We talked about that too. Okay, yeah, that's a shame.
In the stream, but that might it could be testing people to see if they're paying attention to what was in the stream.
Possibly.
Okay,
or maybe they have to get both. Maybe they have to get both right.
Possibly. Let's try one of these first, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes. So, all right, which one do you think you want to go? I think the second one is harder.
You do? Okay.
Personally.
All right. Give it a whirl.
You want to try that one?
Run it up the flagpole. See who salutes.
All right. Here you go, people. You're gonna get a bonus question, a tiebreaker. Oh my gosh, Sarah's already throwing stuff in there. I'm just glad I actually knew the answer. That wasn't a guess. Gamera Sith. She's deferring. She said Gamera Sith can have it. I won once. Oh, okay. I mean, we'll just throw the bonus questions out for fun. So, so congratulations, Gamera Sith. You won. So let me put you down for a t-shirt. You'll just have to tell me which one you want and your shirt size.
You just won, you gun jumper. You jumped the gun there, didn't you? All jumping over guns and things. One would think you're American.
Yeah, but the bonus question was, one of them was, who is Raymond Martin related to? And it's someone famous. I should say, what famous person is Raymond Martin related to? If you can guess that, let us know. And then the other one was, who is Jerry, or is in Priester Herzog Jerry Knockwalter? Who is he related to? He's related to one of the characters on the show. So which of the characters is he related to? So feel free to throw us answers in there.
Just toss them out.
Toss them out. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of a season 5 preview, which is what I would have done had I kept the show on schedule. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because this is now not coming until 2025, so over a year from now. And I want to keep people interested so that when the 5th anniversary rolls around next year, I can go into more depth about what you're going to see for season 5. However, I will at the very least tell you what the theme will be. And look, it's Elijah.
Dun dun
Hey,
dun.
pasa all. I just woke up.
Konnichiwa, boy.
Boy. All right. So I will tell you what the season theme will be, and at this point only the patrons know, and I will tell you a few of the movies that are going to be covered for that season. However, I will tell you nothing about the narrative. You're gonna I can't tell you everything. Can't tell you everything. So season 5? Do you remember what season 5 is going to be, Damon?
No, not a clue.
Really? You forgot?
There's a lot going on in the real world.
I understand. I understand. And remembering season themes for podcasts is it's kind of low on the on the list. But this is one that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm hoping I won't necessarily be ahead of the curve with it. I'm hoping I'll be in the midst of a renaissance within the kaiju renaissance that's going on right now for this. And it is kaiju related, but it's also allowing the podcast to branch out a little bit. And as a little bit of a hint, covering Super Inframan in a way is kind of warming up to it.
I see.
Which is the Ultra journey. So it will be Ultraman movies.
I see.
And these are a few of the ones that we're going to be covering to give you a bit of a idea of the spectrum of films that we'll be talking about with season 5. So obviously we've got Ultraman The Adventure Begins, which is an animated movie produced in the United States by Hanna-Barbera. It was meant to be a pilot for a television show, but it didn't quite work out.
No.
The movie's good, but it didn't get picked up for a series, which is a little unfortunate. And then we'll also be talking about Ultraman Tiga, The Final Odyssey, which I saw just a few months ago, and man, it's good. It's a great epilogue to the television show, because that's something you'll notice with a lot of these, is that much like the Star Trek films kind of became, these add-ons to the television shows, it's the same thing here. A lot of times what these Ultraman shows would do is that a lot of them were just tie-ins, but with the case of Ultraman Tiga here, this was actually the proper finale to the television show. And the funny thing was, the movie was made 3 years after the show was done. I know, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to get to quite possibly one of the most
divisive,
most epic of Ultraman movies, the one that has ridiculous word salad for a name. Mega Monster Battle Ultra Galaxy Legends, the movie. That is the full title. First appearance of Ultraman Belial, and just about every Ultraman ever is in it. It's basically the Avengers Infinity War of Ultraman.
Even the animated one is in there?
What?
Even the animated one shows up?
They make cameos.
Oh, interesting.
Are you talking about Jonius from the 70s anime?
Yeah.
I believe he makes a cameo. Yeah.
Wow.
If I remember correctly. I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he makes a cameo someplace. And the crazy thing is, this wasn't the end of a trilogy. This was the start of a trilogy.
God.
Because it's also the first appearance of Ultraman Zero, who got 2 sequels to this. He didn't have a TV show. He made movies.
Well, isn't he hoity-toity then?
Yep.
He's too good for television.
Yep. And then obviously, because it's new, and I promised in a Patreon live stream from the beginning of this year that I would do this. Shin Ultraman. We're going to talk about it. I think it is definitely podcast worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And thank the Lord, thank Godzilla himself that I finally got a Blu-ray copy that isn't trash.
Took you long enough.
After 3 tries. And then they still found a way to goof it up even when they got it right. Because because I had to order this thing directly from Cleopatra. Cleopatra's Blu-ray of this movie has been my whipping boy for about 2 months. All right. And now I have to give it up, but not really, because here's the thing that's dumb. You would think that they would just remove bad disc, put good disc in, close and seal, right? Right?
Unfortunately, no.
Right? No. Their genius solution to this is, we have a bunch of unsold copies of the botched version sitting around, and we still want to get rid of those, but we will make the new disc for people. So why don't you take all those sealed copies, put the new one that's actually fixed with the proper subtitles, seal that up in its own little baggie, and then tape it to the unsold bad copies and send that out to people.
Super happy.
I avoided getting the bad copy for 2 months. I canceled my pre-order when I heard it was botched. I've avoided it, and I still got a bad copy. But they gave me the good copy too.
Good. At least you came out on top eventually.
It's so goofy. It is so good. This is one of the dumbest tokusatsu releases I have ever seen.
Wow.
I can't even with Cleopatra. It just, I can't even. But
Only deal with reputable sources. Mr. Marchand.
Yes, quite.
Mr. Marchand.
Yeah. It's to the point now where I'm like, Cleopatra, you're barely a step above bootleggers. You realize that? Like, I was to the point where I'm like, I will buy the Australian or the Canadian Blu-ray if they have proper subtitles. I don't care if I have to pay import fees. I have bought Region B Blu-rays that somehow still work on my player. I have several. So I will take the risk. I will take the risk, and I'll pay the extra $10 to import it if I have to from Australia. Because Madman Entertainment's releasing it there, and they know what they're doing when it comes to Japanese films. Anyway, I'm done ranting. But yes, Shin Ultraman will be on the list for that season. Okay. Okay. Now.
Okay, doke.
All right. So now, I don't even know if this is going to work. Because I don't know if we have enough people in the chat.
Oh, no.
But the last giveaway is going to be a wee bit ambitious. It's going to be a little bit different. It won't be a trivia. But hopefully I can make this work. This is one of the things I said at the start that I kind of have to put together while the stream is happening. But Damon.
Yeah.
Would you like to play a game?
You're going to hurt me? Gonna make me hurt myself?
Or maybe
I don't like this game.
Maybe I should have did the war games version. Would you like to play a game?
Hello, Dr. Falcon. Curious game. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess?
Wow.
I just recently watched that. I love that movie.
I was going to say, you really outdid me there. But no, we'll see how it works. We're going to play Rift Tracks.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, I'm gonna see if I can get the game up and running. I literally downloaded Steam and the game as we were streaming. But you're gonna get some unique. This is the big prize. You're gonna get something kind of unique, and I will give. Here's the thing. I will give you the option to. You're gonna be getting artwork. I will give you the option of either just having the pencils, because the pencils are finished. Or if you're willing to wait, I'm going to have somebody digitally ink and color these because I love these pencils. This is artwork by my brother, Jared. But my brother, when he colors things, he does it in acrylic. And since I want to merchandise these and put them on stuff, if I was just maybe if I was just selling posters of this, I don't know. I'll figure something out. But I would like to get these put onto other merchandise. But I commissioned my brother to do posters for different aspects of the Film Vault, starting with season posters. You're going to be getting 3 of these. You'll be getting a season 1, a season 2, and an episode 50 poster. So here's what he did for season 1. I don't know how well it's going to show up on here.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not from
here.
where I can see it.
Yeah, let me see what I can do. I'm going to put this on solo. All right, and this is for season 1. So, that one was called The Conquest and Other Kaiju Kings. So if you look on this, so I told him, like, I want you to have King Kong, and he's like, oh, he's on top of the world, he's on top of a building there. And then, but, since we covered Mothra and Daimajin and Decent 20,000 Fathoms, so like put them all in there, and they're like, what a weirdo,
Oh, yeah.
And he went the extra mile by putting the mantle and crown on him, and he's got a big old beer mug, and he's like, yeah, look at me. He's just dude broing it up,
Nope, don't know anybody like that.
Yeah. And then I said, like, and you could put Nate and Jimmy in there, like put us in the biplanes, like we're flying around, like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that's that's us right there. He's kind of like zooming in a little bit, like, oh no, what's going on? Yeah, but yeah, that's the Rhedosaurus. He's got popcorn, and then you got Daimajin. Oh, where's Daimajin? Like Daimajin's over here, and he's just like, weirdo, So a lot of times when I have my brother do artwork for me, I'll give him some ideas and parameters, and then he surprises me with what he does. Yeah. And then this is for season 2, which was the year of Gamera. And I told him, it's like, okay, in this one, there's a Gamera statue. There's a Gamera statue in the middle of it. And Gamera got named King of the Monsters and everything because of shenanigans with the board and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also when Miss Perkins, so she was introduced toward the end of season 1, but then she becomes a central focus here. And, so she's pestering Nate and Jimmy the whole time. So he put this one together. So here's poor Nate and Jimmy just not having it with Miss Perkins.
Nice.
And then up here is the Gamera statue with the little crown. That's not quite, I told him, like, make it look like it's not fitting quite right, but he didn't quite do that. But then, he's got, what is this? He's got, it's Singular Point Jet Jaguar. Because that's when Jet was modifying himself and he became the Singular Point version. He's got some kids on there, and they're sitting on top of the statue, and it looks like Gamera is flying them around. But it's not literally Gamera; it's a statue. So I was really happy with how this one turned out. So I think it encapsulates season 2 pretty well there. But honestly, I think as cool as both of these are, I think my personal favorite might have to be what he did for episode 50. And all I really told him is, like, do it in the style of MST3K DVD covers, but it's the war in space.
Okay.
And so and I told him, like use both versions. Take some inspiration from the Shout Factory ones and from the old Rhino releasing one, where it would just be, the silhouettes and with the little voice bubbles as they're making jokes, and there's a screenshot of the movie. But I really like the art style from the Shout Factory ones with Tom and Crow reenacting a scene from the movie. So he did what I asked him, and he combined them. So here you go. Got some of the key moments from the movie and a few. None of these jokes that he put in here are actually from the Riff Track script, but I still thought they were funny.
God.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, give that Space Furby a shave. and beam me up, Jimmy. The one over here at the end is, what's so spacey about war anyway? And the silhouettes are actually supposed to be Nate, Goji-kun, and Brokong.
Yeah.
So they're in the style of the host, Mike or Joel, whichever one, and the bots. So, you know, and then you got the Space Beast Man is on there getting zapped with a laser, and you know, Commander Hell freaking out.
No.
So like he recreated the crazy sets from the movie with the
You did.
screen
Wow.
and everything, you know, and he's got the two ships on either side
Oh yeah, it
and the big
is.
stake screen. You know, it's like I love this one. I absolutely love this one. I think he really outdid himself. And I'm planning on having him do some more for future seasons. I've already given him some ideas for what to do with season 3. So hopefully he'll be getting season 3 done pretty soon. Like I said, I will give whoever wins this, I will give them the option to either just get prints of these pencils, because I love his pencils. I really do love his pencils. Or I can get somebody to digitally ink and color these so they'll look really nice on some merchandise. So, you know, whether that be you know, from T Public, whether that be a poster, a mug, or something along those lines. Because, you know, I'm still trying to figure out what to do about that. I've thought about having him actually color them in with acrylic and then having someone go over them just with, you know, with digital ink. I don't know. Well, I'll figure something out, but I definitely wanted to showcase his art style, at least with his pencils.
He likes big eyes, I can tell.
He does. He does. It's
very
it's
expressive. Those eyes.
It's the anime influence.
They're black eyes, doll's eyes, and then they roll over white. Sorry,
all right.
Quint there for a minute.
Yes, I noticed. If someone requested Jaws, I would be more than happy to do it. I'm just
It's not technically a kaiju, but it's still a great movie. So
it's great, and it's adjacent enough, I would say. So, like, if someone sponsored it on Patreon, like, okay, we're talking about. The
Meg, the recent
the
ones.
Meg, I would actually
those are
consider
kaiju. Yeah,
the Meg, I would actually consider kaiju,
but they're not puppets, so I'm not interested. technically, Bruce from the first movie, technically he's a puppet. He's a mechanical puppet, but he's a puppet.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Yeah, we'll figure something out. But yeah, it's that my mom says,
Yep.
Jared, my son is an amazing artist. He is, and Gamera Sith is kind of freaking out a little bit. He said, dibs on being tattoo.
Fantasy Monster Island.
Oh, okay. Fantasy Monster Island. Okay.
My dear guests, I am Mr. Rook, your host. Welcome to Fantasy Marchand.
That's Fantasy Marchand. Oh, good Lord. That's mildly disturbing. All right. So let's see if I can get riff tracks of the game working. What I initially planned is, depending on who was in the call with us, I was going to say, oh, the host and the guests will play a game, and then we'll do another game where it's just people in the chat competing for a prize. I think we'll just combine them at this point.
As well.
We might as well. So for those of you who are still in the chat, I am about to, hopefully this will work. I'm going to screen share this right now. So window, we'll see if I can get the Steam app to cooperate here. Can everybody see that? Okay. So I've got it working. So let me see if I can get it to run here. So recent games. So I just click it. Oh, I have to install it first.
Well, there's a 5 hours you're never going to get back.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
5 hours? Oh, okay. It's downloading.
It's only a gig. Wow.
It's not a big game. Okay, well, while we're waiting for that to download, what's some what are some things we can talk about? What can we vamp about?
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my soul's on fire.
I don't have my top hat and cane.
How about this? You know, since we've done a lot of, you know, character brainstorming and all that, you know, like, how about what are some things you would like to see, Raymond and Gary doing going forward?
Oh my God, there's so much.
I can already tell you. I do have some plans for it, but like, what is like some crazy things you'd love to see them do?
Well,
and I'll see if I can make it happen.
See, that's the thing is, I don't even think of Raymond in terms of until you say something or until you write something or something goes on the show. a crazy thing doesn't occur to me because Raymond is pretty static until somebody does something or says something that he can react to. So it's very hard for me to think of things that's going on in his head because, you know, he's stuck in the 30s and 40s. I think that's just an era he likes. I don't think that. I mean, I think he understands more modern stuff than he seems to.
Right.
Well, let's see. We've done the superhero thing.
Well, and there will be more superhero shenanigans.
As there should be, because he can't get away from that giant boomerang.
No.
Sorry. Oh, that one. No. See, I can't. I don't have a thought process on him right now. I've got Gary going maybe to try and find his dad.
That could be interesting. Yeah, finding his dad. Yeah.
What with the evil twin thing going on? He's got this like I have some questions.
I wish
serious
I could
questions, Dad.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we should just have Gary's life go full tilt. Just go full tilt soap opera.
And it that means you'd have to have that.
Mom and his dad just show up on the island one day.
I want that old like 1960s soap opera organ music. Whenever somebody enters a room, Gary, you're here. We didn't expect you.
Nobody actually expects the Spanish.
Or they find out that his name isn't Gary, it's Gareth.
Gareth.
And Jerry's name is Jareth.
Jareth.
Gareth and Jareth.
Yeah. Now that would be funny. Now you and I have kicked around ideas for some other characters who haven't appeared yet.
We have.
I think the one that we could talk about because he was already hinted at earlier today is we're thinking about introducing kind of like a background bit character that's just gonna like show up and like we're thinking about doing some fake commercials for some of the episodes, and we're thinking that one of the performers who's going to be at the Marcolite Lounge with Kevin Gomera is going to be Rushbot.
Well, no. Kevin Gomera is not Rushbot. Rushbot is an actual Soviet era robot that tells jokes. Even though he used to be part of nuclear program. He used to be part of the whole nuclear deterrent system that was in Soviet Russia. But he decided that wasn't his true calling, and he became stand-up comedian. In fact, he is so good at his job that Yakov Smirnov stole all his jokes.
And he has a little sidekick named Sputnik.
And his sidekick is Sputnik. That's the thing.
It's literally the satellite.
It's literally Sputnik, and Sputnik can only beep. And the whole idea is that the Sputnik is very much like Calculon's robot friend
from Futurama.
On Futurama. So all you beep. Beep. And that's it. That's all he does.
Yeah. So we're thinking that he might be like I said, like a background character. You hear him in some fake ads because you and I were having so much fun just coming up with random, like Rushbot was literally just a random thing that we came up with.
I was trying to figure out how to get my Eastern European accent on the show, and I started doing bad Soviet era jokes. And then you asked, "Who is that?" I said, "That's Rushbot, Russian." Joke-telling robot.
And I said, like, you do the accent. I put in a little bit of metallic reverb in it, and it'll be great.
Do not worry, I am 100% tungsten. Ching ching. Good Russian making.
Good Russian making. All right, so it looks like the game is working now.
Oh no!
I am launching it, and it's opening another window. I don't know if this is working or not. Wait. No. I hear the game starting.
I hear nothing.
I hear the game playing.
We hear nothing. So the thing is, how could we possibly play since we can't click anything on here? Has he frozen? He's been kicked out. Oh my god! And there it is. It's just me now. I have nothing. He doesn't tell me anything. He had no backup. I have no information for you guys, so it's we're just gonna wait. There he is.
Apparently, game crashed the stream, so that's not happening.
Nope. Apparently, they are not compatible. Like Rosbot and Apple product, they are not compatible.
Wow, that upsets me. I apparently need. I don't know if I need a better computer or if I need a better internet. I don't know.
That would be a yes.
Probably
On both.
Probably.
I don't know what processor you're using, but yeah, we've had issues before with your internet and with your computer. So
yeah, that is unfortunate. I think what I'm gonna, in that regard, since it is 11:30 at this point, as much as I would love to give these away live on stream, I think what I'm actually going to do is I will collect names and I will do a drawing. I'll just do a quick little video or something.
Little blind poll
for the drawing. That way, people who were here and had to leave, they can still have a chance to get these. So I think that's what we'll end up doing. So I think maybe for we'll say a week, I will say whoever's interested, let me know, and I will add your name to the drawing, and then you win copies of these wonderful things. Well, at the very least, I now have refreshed the game on my laptop. That was $10 that I spent hoping to play this while streaming, and apparently that ain't happening. So that
disgraceful.
I have double dipped on this game because I have it on the PlayStation 4. So note to self, play it on the PlayStation 4.
Indeed.
At least for now, until I figure out what needs to be done to make it work on here. But that's disappointing, to say the least.
That's life.
Yeah.
When life give you lemons, maybe you just found lemons.
But in Mother Russia, lemons give you life.
I do not think that is. I mean, you make vodka out of lemon. Make vodka out of anything.
In Mother Russia, vodka is water.
Vodka is life.
Vodka is life. All right. Anyway.
There must be kaiju based on vodka.
Oh, speaking of that, speaking of Russia and kaiju, I just found out that apparently the original Soviet version of The Sword and the Dragon is getting released.
Oh,
I'm trying to. I just saw a screenshot of all the features and stuff, so I don't know who's doing it, but apparently someone is doing it. Maybe I'll just figure it out.
I am looking forward to that.
Here.
That is definitely something.
I would love to know who is releasing that. I want to say it's Arrow.
God, it sounds like something Arrow would do. They do like to mine.
Yeah, let me see. Is this article from this year? No, that's a year ago.
Oof. That's rough.
Yeah, but who released this? There is a Blu-ray here on Amazon. NTSC. I Deaf Crocodile. What? Okay. I could have swore that it looked like Wait, no, it was Vinegar Syndrome.
Really?
Yeah, or at least Vinegar Syndrome is selling it.
Interesting.
Yeah, this looks like it's the one. Yeah. Yeah, because I think some people were getting upset because it's only the Russian version.
Oh, well, that's not nice.
Yeah, so yeah, it has been released, and at this point, it's the closest thing I can think of to a Russian kaiju movie. At least
Which
that
is,
I can actually get my hands on.
I am very somewhat disappointed in the Russians because you would think the Russian bear is their symbol, and a giant Kodiak kaiju. It's just aching to be made.
Right.
But
yeah, actually, no. Vinegar Syndrome is selling this. It was actually produced by a company called Deaf Crocodile.
Interesting.
Never heard of it.
Neither have I. This might be one of those limited life corporations that is just doing this particular movie.
Yeah, and on Vinegar Syndrome, you can get the standard edition, which has, it's an okay cover, looks very photoshopped, or you can get a slip cover with a painted cover.
Ooh.
Of the title character Ilya Muromets, who's a Russian folk hero.
Yeah. I mean, there also should be a horror movie too about Baba Yaga.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, because
anyway, that's one of our rabbit trails.
Tangents.
So there you go. I'll have to add that to the list of to the MIFV list of it's for at some point. There is a puppet in it.
Puppets.
Because there's a 3-headed puppet dragon.
Yes, puppets. We love puppets. Puppets are our friends.
Oh, by the way, we're getting answers. So Martin, aka Perry Mason. At least it's not gold member. I think
gold
monster.
I love gold.
Yeah.
I love gold.
And Elijah would like us to know with his British spelling that his favorite episode is bonus episode 14, which is Zillafoot, because he was in it.
Oh,
I interviewed him and Danny because they were actually in the movie. So anyway, the posters will be a drawing. But thank you to you, Damon, for staying on the entire time, and for everybody else who dropped by, Neil, my sister, and everyone who graced us in the chat with their participation.
Thank you for being fans.
And for watching, some of whom have been watching the entire time. I'm impressed that you did that. And I'm not sure which audio I'm going to use for the podcast feed. I may just grab one and edit it. I'm not sure. We'll see. I'll see how the StreamYard version sounds, because that might end up sounding a little bit better than what I was picking up with all of the internet interference that we ran into. But thanks everybody for doing that. It's been 4 wonderful years, and I'm looking forward to a heck of a lot more going forward. Season 4 will be out in January. We've got some interim episodes in the meantime. A lot of big plans coming forward. You know about this, Damon, because you're part of the creative team that I bounce my ideas off of. And like I said, I may as well just start listing you as an executive producer with your incredible generosity, because I told you after you sponsored your first episode, I was like, hey, you only have to do it for 2 months. You can stop. And you're like, I don't want to.
No.
No. So that's why a lot of people have been getting their episodes, is because you basically created a scholarship, and I let people get their episodes in through that.
Absolutely.
So your generosity, I'm incredibly grateful for it. And thank you for believing in the show as much as you do, and and for everything that you've contributed. I can't thank you enough, and I mean that.
I thank you for allowing me to play in your sandbox and get some much needed credits to my IMDb page.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And
It's
although
not
try
totally altruistic, you know.
yeah, well, yeah. And although try explaining to people with some of the characters that you play on this is like,
All I
yeah,
have to-
on that one podcast, I'm a time lost lawyer, his overworked sidekick, and a bug themed cult leader from Germany.
Not to mention, I'm also a giant moth, and occasional random characters, like a lounge singer / operator. Who else have I done? Have I done anybody else yet? Oh, you've got plans for other
a
guys.
small moth sidekick.
That's what I was going to say. Mimo is a moth.
Yeah,
so.
Mimo. Yeah.
But
You
Mimo's big
are
enough.
asleep, sir.
The gate was open. The gate was open. You just weren't here.
You were asleep. Anyway, I can hear the neighbor's dogs getting restless. But
Yep.
since we're talking about your patrons and all that, I will give them a quick shout out before we wrap things up here. Obviously, thank you, Damon. You're one of the patrons. Obviously, you're one of the most generous.
I ain't dropping $100, but yeah.
No, yeah, but you've already done that, slowly over the course. But no, wow, did I forget? I actually forgot to put the patrons on this recent bonus episode. I'm gonna have to go fix that. Anyway, so big shout out right now to Travis Alexander, Danny Demana, Eli Harris, Bex from Redeemed Otaku, the Cellcast, Tofu Fury, Eric Anderson, Ted Williams, Winja the Ninja, Brad Batman Edelman, Christopher Reiner, the Indiscreet one. I'm guessing that's how it's written. I don't know if it's Jake Hambrick, who's been in this, who was in the chat earlier, Edwin Gonzalez, Matt Walsh, but not that Matt Walsh, and Jonathan Cartwright. Thank you again for believing in the show enough to send me your money, and I do my best to do right by the money that you give me. It's why I give periodic reports now. And be sure to check out the website where you can get some updates on things, monsterislandfilmvault.com, and check out my other podcast, Henshin Men and the Power Trip. That would be great. We've mentioned Carl Dutton's Scyther Inc. Productions. Both of us have been involved with Carl, and we're hoping to do some more there. And check out my author website, nathanjsmarchand.com. Is there anything you need to let the peoples know about real quick, Damon?
I got nothing. It's been a dry season. I did a little thing we talked about before. I did a little one line voice for Carl for his newest podcast, which is about, I think it's 4 or 5 individuals who, like, teenagers get superpowers, and I'm just a
East Haven 8.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just helped him out with a solid because he needed a reporter voice, and I just filled in for that. So that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, in which case I would tell Jimmy to do this, but he's not here. So
Cue the credits.
Let's cue the credits.
Thank you for listening to the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast produced and hosted by Nate Marchand. If you want to join the discussion and be heard on the show, we'd love to hear from you. So email us at feedback@monsterislandfilmvault.com. Our website is monsterislandfilmvault.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Monster Island Film Vault, and on Twitter, where our handle is @TheMonsterIsla1. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. Follow Jimmy from NASA on Twitter @NASAJimmy, and our many other colorful characters using the links in the show notes. The podcast logo was created by Tyler Souls from TylerDrawsComics.com. Our theme song is Wanderer on the Offensive, live edit by B33J, Sarax, Juan Madrono, and Nonsensical Lexus, which is a remix of Counterattack, Battle with the Colossus, and The Open Way, Battle with the Colossus, by Koatani from the video game Shadow of the Colossus. All film and audio clips belong to their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended or implied. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and or Podchaser to spread the word about the show. You can also support us by joining MIFV Max on Patreon. The Monster Island Film Vault is a Moonlighting Ninjas media production. Sayonara!